Fernando.
I will check right now. I welcome everyone. We see a few people on the, and I'm wondering if Fernando Vargas, are you on the phone? Can you hear us? I'm checking it for attendance here. So, Fernando, are you there?
It might be Colleen. It's not
I
Fernando.
see one person that's just on their phone. Can you acknowledge yourself so we know who that person is?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Jan Boyer.
Hi, Jen. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. I won't probably stay the whole time, but I did want to hear the school leader report today. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Fernando said he was trying to Zoom in, but it said that the site is not available now. Wondering if there's another call in, or maybe you can send him a direct link, new email address. Yeah.
And this is Colleen.
Brandon Cindy.
Hello.
Sure, she said the link. Sorry, we're just, for those of you that are waiting out there, we're just trying to make sure.
You're welcome to, yeah. Yep, we just are getting started.
Sounds like Colleen's trying to come in too.
Oh, I can send you a link real quick. Okay, see you soon.
Maybe CC Fernando on that.
Okay, let's try it again. Let's see if I can do this without leaving the meeting.
We do have a forum, so we can start, but we'll give me a couple more minutes here.
And where's the camera that shows up this board? Because it shows two
This
of them.
point, yeah.
I can zoom it out, get about 3 people at a time.
Yeah. Eventually you want to get the whole board.
You can turn it too, right?
But yeah, I can.
Does it automatically turn to someone's voice? No.
I think we can set it to do that. I just haven't, figured it out.
That would be cool if we could.
I think it does.
That'd be cool.
If not, we should get one like that.
It should, it's supposed to. We just might have to set a setting. Copy. Okay. Hopefully they'll join in.
Yep. Okay, well, I'll call the meeting to order and let the record show that Dorothy Stininger is absent. And as of right now, Fernando Vargas is absent. All other members are present. So we do have a quorum. And we'll get into these pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Number 2 is public comment. And Jan Boyer's out there. Jan, did you have any public comment today?
I don't have extensive, I know it's a short 3-minute thing, but I don't have much to say, Joe. I just wanted to thank you for being willing to have public attend. And I'm here to learn, and thank you for your service. I'm involved in, and I should say I'm involved in volunteering in a couple of organizations, and what you say helps me understand how to govern in our Democratic Committee, which I'm part of, and the Pony Express Association convention planning, which is coming up for the fall for my husband. So thank you for your work, for your ideas, and I think that I just wanted to mention that I've been following you, as I said last time, in the newspaper and in Brandlin's essays. So that's been helpful. I'll find out more about that. And I'm glad the school is apolitical. She mentions it's apolitical and not like Hillsdale College. And that was in the first August newspaper article. So in any case, glad to be here and thank you for your a willingness to share and serve.
Hey, thanks, Jen. Appreciate it. Is there any other public comment? Okay, seeing none, then we'll move to item number 3, official guest discourse, 3 Oaks Resource Group International. Brandon?
Yeah, so I'd like to introduce you to Jim and Michael. This is a group that can help us with procurement of all of our tables and desks and chairs, and they come and they get help with ordering, they help with shipping, they show up and help with setup and trash disposal. And this has probably been the biggest thing that keeps me up at night, is how a staff of 2 is supposed to get this done by June and then really done by August. And so I've been working with these guys, they have a plan. I'll let them take the floor because they are the experts, and then you can ask them some questions. And so really, we are looking here just for board support to make sure we're all on the same page on this. So Jim and Michael, you want to take it away? Oh, we can't hear you.
So, are you hooked up to this?
No, it should be coming through Hanks. Oh, hang on, guys. Try again.
No. Wait, but it's too low. Lift it
Oh.
up. Now try.
And you're unmuted or?
Yeah, we're unmuted.
Is that?
Can you hear me?
Oh,
Yep,
yeah,
we hear
yeah,
you.
oh,
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, Jim, I guess you don't get your shot. All right, so my name is Mike Oaks. I'm the
You
owner
turn
of
it up just
Oaks
a little.
Resource Group International. We've been in business for over 20 years. Jim is my Mid-Plains director, and he's been working with Brandolyn on her school out in Nevada. And I am the hidden person behind Jim. We have a full team that actually supports him. What we do is we essentially talk to our clients. We understand what their needs are, what your vision is. Then we try and go out and find products to fit within that vision and make sure that it works within your budget. I know Jim's been working on desks and chairs and boards and reception areas. I think we just started working on a library. So what we do is we try and get you the best pricing that we can across the board. We're not tied into any individual manufacturer. We're an open line procurement company. And what we do is we bring you our expertise on how to buy everything. We order everything, we deliver everything, we install everything. We take care of all your warranty. We take care of any other troubles that you have with any of your products. We're a full turnkey management company. And you know, turnkey can be extremely tough. We don't carry a catalog. If we had a catalog, it'd be like handing you the Encyclopedia Britannica. Yeah, because if we gave you every manufacturer that we deal with, which is well over 100 furniture manufacturers, there just wouldn't be enough room for you to support all that. So we work with you, we identify products, we bring those products to you, we show you the websites, we show you all the pricing. And then what we do is, as I've already stipulated, is that we will do all your purchasing for you. We have a very simple contract. There isn't one. We go by our terms. And what that means is that we do everything for you up front. We buy everything, we deliver everything, we install it. And when we're done, that's when we invoice you. We also have financing partners if you need, that will bring financing to your establishment. And that means that they will pay for everything for you. The one thing that we like about that is that even if you have grant money, you can keep that in the bank. They give you a schedule and you follow that schedule so you know exactly what your monthly payments will be for all of your materials. and you can keep going. So if you have an emergency with something, a pipe breaks and you need some money quick, you have that money sitting in the bank already. And all you're doing is following along their budgeted line item. That's about it in a nutshell.
So I have a question.
Sure.
Can you hear me okay? So I understand that part. I know because I opened a brand new school at one point, and the lists of things that I made were endless, right? I didn't have a company like you to help. And I forgot things. So do you have, I mean, this school essentially doesn't have anything, right? If we look at it that way. We don't want to start school and go, oh, we forgot whatever. So do you help with, help Brandlin with the list that says, make sure you get these, you're going to need something in this category?
Yes, sir. Let me put your mind at ease. We do everything. If you were to take your building and tip it upside down and shake it, anything that could possibly fall out of your school, we already have on our list. We also do outdoor furniture. We do playgrounds. We do computers. We do supplies. So when we bring you the original list that we look at in each one of your classrooms, we show you that you need flags, your flag holders, boards, tack boards, bookcases, desks, chairs, teacher desk, teacher chair, community tables, different type of chairs for the community tables. For your offices, we give you your desk, your chairs, your hutches, anything that you could possibly think of, teacher mailboxes, cafeteria furniture, cafeteria equipment, if you need equipment for the cafeteria. You name it, we have it. We've been doing this for over 20 years. So our lists are extensive. And like I always try and teach all my salespeople is build the list out no matter what you're saying isn't going to fit their budget. We want them to identify that all these needs are something that they will need eventually. Whether they want to buy it now, buy it later, or say, oh my gosh, we forgot about this. Can we cut back here? Yes, we can make it work for you. Because we always say there's areas that you want that will be a little bit better looking. And then we want to cut back in the back office areas. So yes, we can work any of those things for you and we make it happen because I've been in this for a very long time and I've dealt with hundreds of schools across the nation and internationally. So yeah, we want to make it work for you. We want you to open and be successful. We're not here just to say, hey, I'm going to give you this and then I'm gone. I'm here for the long run. Jim's here for the long run. We want to help you grow. We want to help you expand. We want to be here for the next 10 years if you need us. If you expand for 3 years and you're complete, you only call us for little nitpicky things. Hey, we have a broken chair. Can you get me another chair? Yes. Most of the time it's under warranty and a lot of companies won't tell you that.
So so to let you know how Jim and I have been working together, so I sent Jim our floor plan with dimensions. And then he returned to me this list like Michael's talking about by classroom and cost. And now he and I and Jim has been nothing but incredibly responsive because we realized we forgot this. Oh, we forgot this. And he's been adding and taking, and I've given him a number to work within for our school. And so now we're fine tuning, taking things out, putting things in, finding alternatives so we stay within our budget number. So I can pass this around. And so all of that's happening real time.
So quick question, I'm looking at your website with Heritage Preparatory School. It looks very comparable to what we're doing.
Mhm.
How do you guys, as you said, you bill once everything's done, what percentage or how does your billing work? How does
That what you see on that sheet of paper is what it is. Everything there is inclusive of all our fees and everything.
Okay.
We break up freight, so you see exactly what your freight's going to be. We break up your install costs, so you can see what that's going to be. Now, I keep warning Jim that you all are a small anomaly because you are out in Nowheresville almost, but we've done plenty of schools in Nevada before. So we know what to look for. We know how to get the people to your facility. We know how to get the furniture to your facility and whatever else we need to do. So it just is on our side, it's a little bit more work than, say, if we were in Miami, where I have hundreds of locations where I can use as storage, or Georgia or anywhere else in a big city. But we get it done.
Okay, I have another question.
Sure.
So to me, the ergonomics of the desks and chairs and all of that plays a part in student achievement.
Mm-hmm.
So what research background do you have in ensuring that we have that, the stuff in place is going to ensure it? So for example, I was just working at a Christian school, and the kindergartners and first graders were sitting in like 6th and 7th grade level desks. Right?
Doesn't
And they
happen
can't,
with us.
right? So the reading material is at a bad position for them.
Mm-hmm.
Elementary school desks used to be slanted so kids could see the material better. Things like that, colors, texture, all those kind of things. So we want to make sure that what we get ensures the success of the students too.
Guarantee it.
And that's the question. I know Brandon will be working on that with you. So do you have stuff that we can see that says, okay, it's between these two products. This one we know will enhance the achievement of the students in your school.
Yeah, what we bring to you is we actually give you 3 different products to choose from, all that are very similar. So when you look at a student desk, we identify that desk with 3 different manufacturers for you. There could be 4, there could be 5, but what we try and do is we try and bring you a good, better, best scenario. We show you the desk, we show you how it's made, and we show you its pricing. Then it's just up to you to say, oh yeah, we really like this because some might have accent colors to them where they have 2 bands on their legs and you want to do 3 different colors on the desk. That's what we help you with. Or if you say, well, we're a little bit over budget, let's move down and get this other desk. It's the exact same desk, but it's limited in the color choices. And then it's limited by its design. They all look very similar. The only difference is their color choices and how high or low it can go. We use pretty much all of our manufacturers are US manufacturers, except for one, which is a Canadian manufacturer. And they're on longer lead times, but that's what we do with you. We go through and we identify what you want in your classrooms to make it work for you. You can do collaborative. And I always say collaborative can be a rectangle desk. It's just how you put it together and how your teachers use it to teach their classes. And it comes down to classroom management. So we could do very funky collaborative style desks, or we can do rectangle desks. We can do tables. We can do high top. We can do low top. We can do chairs. We can do rocking chairs. We can do stools. We can do swivel stools. You name it, we do it all. And that's what we help you look through and understand. Like I said, we've been doing this for a very long time. So it's actually what you want to see to lead your students through. And that's what we're not the educators. We rely on your expertise as educators to say, this is the style we want. Help us find it and get it.
And Jim has worked with other classical schools. He's very familiar with the classical model and what a classical classroom. That's what we're working on, trying to get some pictures so you can see.
So does Hillsdale
Yeah,
require certain colors, certain
They have a certain
styles?
style, a certain look, I would say.
So that's what you're working
Yeah.
with too.
You could do natural, which is the maple colors, or we could do colors. We could do wood grain colors. We could do solid colors. We could do edge bandings. We could do colors on the legs. There's so many options out there nowadays that it's just price and availability.
I was under the impression that Hillsdale had certain requirements for the way the classrooms looked.
They do like
Okay.
so many
Yeah.
bookcases, so much, like the kinders are on tables versus desks, things like that.
Okay, so
And Jim's familiar with those. He's worked with other Hillsdale schools.
Oh, cool.
Is that, that's true? Wait,
Yeah,
can we hear you
we
now?
work with,
Oh,
yeah, we
that's-
worked at Hillsdale schools
Yeah.
and other just classical education schools.
Yeah.
If you'd like, I think Jim can pull up some of the room designs that you all have worked on. If you want him to share a screen.
Oh, we can hear you now.
Oh, now we can hear you, Jim.
I didn't do anything, I promise.
So, all right,
we
Jim, have a.
Jim
question.
found
Yeah,
his
well-
voice. I can sit back and relax.
We have a
Mike was not
question.
prepared for that.
Gentlemen, I have a question for you guys. As you said, you've been doing this for a while now. Would you be able to give us some references of schools that you've worked with before and contact info so we can reach out to them? Obviously,
Sure.
this is a big investment, and before we want to even give you guys the money, we want to make sure that, had some other good
Oh, come on, you
experience.
don't want to just give us the money?
Come on.
Listen, I'm the treasurer. I got to push back on something.
Yeah, I can give you as many references as you want. We can give you groups that we've worked with, like we work with Imagine Schools and a couple other big groups. We can give you independents, we can give you small schools, big schools, classical schools, you name it, we'll get it to you.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
a
I can
handful
shoot
of
Brandon
small
on
classical
that.
schools would be great.
Yeah. Well, actually, Jim's gonna get it to you.
Right.
Make him do a little work.
Thank you.
Would you like to see some of the designs I think they've been working on?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jim, it's all
yeah.
yours.
I'll go ahead and share my screen then for you guys. Let me know. Am I open there?
Working.
Yep. Just waiting for it to.
Yep,
All right.
we can see
All
your files.
Gotcha. Okay, well, yeah, I'll start with this then. This is our the kindergarten class we had mocked up initially. As you can see, I mean, this is this is like a nice little podium we put in the front. It's one of our add-ons that we add at the end. These are nice little take-home cubbies for the students. I apologize if it's not zooming in correctly, but these are some take-home cubbies. What was that? Oh, yeah, the take-home cubbies. These are the tables that Brandon referenced that are typically recommended for some of the younger students. All these are, like Mike kind of was stating, completely customizable, different colors, edge bands. I mean, we can kind of work on that as we go. That's a whole nother conversation. I'll get you a different angle of that, show the teacher's end of it. This was a recent add-on that we just added on this weekend. A little kidney table for, like, a lot of the times the classical method prefers like the push-in method rather than pull kids out of class. So a little smaller discussions, a little area in the corner. We had this little cheap teacher aid desk here. Obviously teacher desk, storage solution. We got filing solutions. Kind of like Mike touched, really anything that can kind of go in the room. But this is kind of the first initial design that we kind of did. Brandon, you seem to, like it. It fits that classical model. I mean, really just a traditional looking classroom. So that was the first one that we did with kindergarten. I'll move on to our Great Hall. So this is a solution that I came up with for Brandon. So looking at your building, I mean, obviously these are just look like, standard kind of cafeteria tables. There's nothing to really look at here, but what these do is these fold out into benches. These are really useful. What happens is these top portion of the table part of it kind of folds in and they make like a little bench, if you will. This is great for meetings, parent-teacher meetings, any type of rally situation. So really these can fold in to be almost like not an auditorium, but kind of a similar vibe as that. Can provide for, any type of presentation or whatever you have. So that's kind of what we're looking at preliminarily, now. That's kind of what we're looking at. I'll move on to our third grade class. This was another recent change. Me and Brandon, we've had so many conversations the last 3 weeks, and I've really enjoyed working with you. So we've kind of been tossing these around. I added a new desk. So these are actually desks pushed together. This is still a kind of a revolving door. Another conversation probably need to be had on them, but similar layout. Again, you got the teacher desk storage solution, teacher aid station. These are bookcases. And yeah. Like I said, that podium there, it's a similar concept, pretty much the same concept as the kindergarten class. We did switch up and
Can I interrupt quick?
Absolutely.
So those tables, do they have the little storage space underneath? Or is it just
Yeah, so
flat
these
table?
Yeah, we can get those. These ones specifically, actually, because Brandon reached out and said that, you know, these desks really worked out for another Founders Academy, I think you
Look like
said.
this.
But
So this-
pretty much the storage is actually on the side of these. So with that, it kind of sacrifices a little room. It kind of takes up, because obviously it's a longer desk instead of having it underneath. It kind of extends out that table.
Yeah, that's nice. So
I'm showing them the picture that Megan sent us that you built off of.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And we're able to get that exact same one. So that's what I included here. You know, again, there's going to be more collaborating conversations to be had, but, you know, with that desk is a little larger, but again, it does fit in there, you know, with it pushed together, but,
And this arrangement with them all pushed together is how Founders looks. Their classrooms look like that. 5 lines of 5 desks essentially.
And that's to scale, so that's how
That's to
tight,
scale.
25 kids in a classroom, because there is no room.
Yeah.
Size of their desks, for the smaller built rooms.
Well, the good thing about those is, you know, you can turn them and make it
Oh, yeah.
work too. So you can have a group of 4, you can rearrange those as needed. So it works for a lot of different things, as long as they're adjustable height.
Yes, they are. And that's the reason Founders likes them, because the book box is on the side, so you can size them better for especially tall kids.
Yep.
And their knees aren't constantly hitting, and you don't have to make the desk really tall. You can make it so it's sized well for the child.
Yeah, that's why it's done.
Yes, all of the
Here.
furniture is
That makes it more
sizable.
difficult for the smaller.
Yes.
The leg room.
I'm told.
Okay, go ahead, Jim. Sorry.
yeah, well, these were just kind of preliminary designs. We kind of started the library again over the weekend. I have to change the layout a little bit on this because there was some different sizing here, but this is kind of just a concept that we kind of started on as a library. I sent you a few pictures, but just to kind of show you another thing, another possibility of kind of what we could do with that space upstairs. Recently, we did switch around the reception desk. I'll just go ahead and show you.
It's right here.
Kind of a simple standard reception desk, but it's really nice, does the job. We have these flame safe cabinets back here, more storage opportunity options, guest chairs here, and you know, nice little reception desk. So that was it for now. I understand you guys had your offices taken care of already. So as far as the design work, that was kind of, you know, all we got done so far, but
Your receptionist will probably want a much bigger desk, only because they're not just a receptionist. They're also attendants, and unless they're gonna work in a back room, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and
It's a big ask.
we've just started kind of working through this reception area and balancing again the cost. So we have a threshold money that I've given them that we're now
Wheeling around,
wiggling inside of all these wants and hopes and dreams.
because we're gonna need probably 2 or 3 screens, realistically, right? 'Cause one of them's probably has cameras, and then one of them's got the infinite campus and all that, and 10 inches to everything. That's usually, if you go look at schools, there's a lot going on with the front office.
Mhm,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and
And that's a
ultimately,
small
will there be more than one person in the front box?
Someday.
Eventually, yeah. And maybe to get help too.
Yeah, I still,
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, this is kind of what we started with.
That's nice.
This is a Cadillac.
That's the Cadillac version, but you want to get something that's usable.
Just need more money.
That's right.
It's okay.
well, and
We'll talk about that.
we've talked about that before, is safety.
Yeah.
Well, Jim and I and Matt Donovan are meeting on tomorrow to talk
Yep.
school safety, and Raptor Technologies is Raptor joining us?
no, not tomorrow, no.
Okay, but Jim, so this group, Three Oaks, also has a relationship with Raptor Technologies, which is the school safety. So Jim and Matt and I are going to talk tomorrow, school safety stuff. So yeah, we're thinking of all these things.
Good, good.
Any other questions for our guests?
Not on this side.
We appreciate it, guys.
Is that Fernando?
Anytime that you have a question or a concern, you can always reach out to me or you can reach out to Jim. We're always available. You should have our email addresses or our phone numbers, or, you know, reach out to Brandon Lynch. She'll get it to you. I'm always available to any client, anytime, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. My wife doesn't love me for that, but you know, a client is a client and answers are always free. So feel free to call me. If you're on the golf course goofing off, whatever, and an idea or something comes into your head, I'm available to you.
Yeah, same
Thank you.
here. And I apologize for the technical difficulties at the start of it, but really appreciate you guys taking the time to hear us out. And yeah, like I said, appreciate it and looking forward to hopefully collaborating with you guys. So
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, gentlemen. We'll be in touch.
Yeah.
Great,
you
thanks.
Pass the paperwork that went through, back through.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I do want to reiterate that, you know, they said board can call them and stuff. That's really not our role.
No.
This is Brandolyn's. We appreciate her sharing that with us because it's nice to see that, but ultimately who she purchases from and who she asks to do that, that we're not voting on that or anything. And I know she appreciates our input and suggestions and things too.
Yeah.
But ultimately that's up to you.
Yep, I'm curious, sorry. And maybe you said this, how did you find them?
They reached out to me well, I started Googling procurement help for classical schools. And so I'm sure somehow they connected to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great niche. I mean, wish we would have had that when we were.
Well, man, it would have helped me.
How long has it been in existence?
30 years, or 25 years.
So this is around, reminds me of like a supply chain or
Yeah.
some kind of a manager.
Found a need and said, let's make it easy for you. And then
Just raise more money.
Jim and his team will physically come on site. They'll be here as long as they need to be. And the biggest, for me too, the biggest thing was like trash removal. I'm interested.
Oh.
Right? Like that in and of itself.
even put it
Installation.
together. That's a lot of
Yeah.
man hours.
So yes, I think it was probably and I'm sure they're probably constantly looking
They
for
probably have
trash.
that for-
They probably have a system that alerts them that new starts to happen.
Yeah, they do.
I would be interested, to Hank's point, I would be interested from somebody who's used them.
Yep, and that was my next step was after I wanted to get your general feel, because if you were like absolutely not, then we would have had a different conversation. But yes, we'll double check everything is legit and move forward depending on the results of that. But so far, everything, they've done what they've said and beyond, so I'm quite impressed so far.
And on their website, they do.
Them, excuse me,
Oh, no, go ahead.
They just included it somehow.
they do a percentage of the training.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, but it's all in here. There is on their website review, a couple of different people who've, made reviews and.
Mhm.
I think it was worth it just to see some classrooms set up.
Isn't that exciting?
There's like a lot of inspiration that
Yeah.
comes from that, so.
He didn't really answer my question though. I want to know what style of chair makes you the most successful, what style of desk,
Oh, I don't know that they know that,
Stools rolling. Didn't really answer.
because they're not education specialists.
We're focused on it.
So he said,
You would have to
whatever
say
you
what you
want.
want it.
I would like to see what, because I've seen stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay, what style, rolling chairs or stools versus this type of chair. We're gonna tell them, or you're gonna tell them what you want to purchase, but you need to find the stuff that's gonna make our teams most successful.
Right. And I can probably ask, and then I can do some more research on that too. But yeah, that's not their expertise, right? Their expertise is procuring it, so.
So they have some idea.
So if they've been doing it for 30 years, they have some idea.
That's the
Yeah.
thing. But maybe they haven't had
Gonna
any
be a
correlation
balance of-
between student
Yeah.
achievement and, because these are trapezoid desks, right?
Mhm.
I've seen all different, you look at EIAA's desks that they purchase, they're way different.
Mhm.
Different shapes and stuff and the way they can form them together and move them.
Yep.
And I don't know if it was just for style or if it was for student achievement. I'm not sure the reasoning behind, because I've seen in classrooms where the kids are on a rolling stool.
Yeah, oh yeah. Alternative seating.
Initially, expense wise, that's what's gonna get us is, like over time, we may retrofit. Once we get the second grade classroom, we might say, hey, now that we have DSA coming in, let's start slowly bringing in some of this alternative seating and desk arrangements. But fiscally, we'll probably have to stay pretty conservative out of the gate, because it's expensive. We've done a lot of that.
That's the other thing. Yeah, that is the desk I was talking about, like there with
Yeah,
that.
those are harder to get in and out. Too. They're not as
Yeah,
clean.
it puts the top higher for a kid, where if it's on the side, then you can raise and lower to whatever you want. So I kind of like that idea.
They have the carpet, they have so many little things included, the calendar area, the carpet for the
Yeah.
kindergarten classroom, it's kind of nice. Where if you try to individually do this, you're gonna spend shipping.
That's the
in
big
a hundred
savings
different
in
ways.
ship and freight, and the savings is huge.
Especially here.
You'll know the
I
bottom
am,
overall, so.
Yeah.
Is that somebody?
Fernando.
Fernando's on? Are you out there, Fernando?
yeah, I am. I understood that all of that was included.
Good, well,
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that you're there. So, good deal.
Okay.
Okay, moving on.
Stay tuned.
Anything else on 3?
Yeah. Oh, here. Thank you.
Sounds great.
No, not for now. You'll hear more in the report.
Number 4, approval of minutes.
Oh, I didn't print the minutes for your book. I knew I was forgetting something. Here, I can pull them up here. Wait,
You
did
sent
we send them out?
Did you send it?
Just when I think I've got it all together, you guys.
It's a lot
I get
of
to
moving
be,
parts.
I'm reminded that I'm very human. Okay, hold on. I think if I send them out, they're gonna be right here and we can see.
Send them out, we can look at them.
I'm remembering, did we even send them out?
I don't think so.
I don't think we did.
We're traveling, all right?
All right, so here they are. Do we want to table it or look over them? It's up to you guys.
Yeah, 'cause we go through them and sign them and get them posted.
Let's see.
So let's just scroll through quickly.
Okay, tell me when you're ready and I'll move.
Let's put a space in my last name. P space capital P. Real important change there.
Yeah, it matters. It matters. We can't get the little stuff. We can't get the big stuff.
I know I've read through this before because I have this.
In that second line, you have ECFU, it's be EFCU.
Actually, all of them,
Okay.
Easy mistake.
yeah.
And I can fix this in, why that's acting weird. I won't mess with it now. The other side. Won't do it that way.
Who cares?
Okay, so here's leader report.
Fernando won't be able to see this, but
If you put the camera on the screen, you could follow along more.
Lee's just calling in.
Oh, he's just calling. Okay.
There's a typo in the.
Yeah.
third.
I can look at it later.
Where?
And reviewed many teacher resumes, are few have met the criteria for an interview.
Or you just put a dash instead.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, I'm
Okay.
good, you guys good?
Yep.
100%.
so must be some space issue there on 7 committee that's not aligned.
Yeah, that was really. Good.
Yep. Okay.
Oh, yeah, this was work out fun, huh?
Yep,
Fix Joe's name.
Ready?
You could put not mentioned if you want, I mean, it's so stupid, but.
and shouldn't, yeah.
Okay, on to new business.
Good.
Yeah,
Yeah, go about halfway down then.
Let's just take Mr. out because she doesn't use it anymore. Okay.
Good.
And I think that's last page here. Yeah. Okay.
Any more suggestions or changes? We have a motion to approve.
I'll move to approve the minutes with the edits.
Second.
Here we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Fernando said aye. I vote aye for the motion passes.
Awesome. Thank you guys for being here.
Okay, item number 5, financial bank balance account update with summary of expenses.
Yes, sir.
Do you want this ink?
Yes.
There it is. You.
Great. We could get a really long HDMI cord and then just switch. Move it over.
Yeah, and I actually have a long one at home, but
Yeah.
But then we wouldn't get to our musical chairs.
exactly.
Get to stand up.
You get to stretch our legs, so you guys.
So I take a couple breaks today because we have a lot of stuff to get through.
Keep going.
Hey, Amy, Lisa, Hank, you guys are on screen now.
What,
Just so you know.
you figured out how to move
That's
it?
what we get.
Got the TV.
If I get it to. All right. So our financial report for today. I'm now also tracking the school discretionary savings account. This way there's 4 of these on here, rather than the 3 that you've previously seen before. So a brief overview of what happened here. I'm not going to read out everything here, but the key takeaways are we transferred $250,000 out of the EFCU savings that went into the EFCU checking as a middleman, and then that went into the Nevada State Bank checking. And actually there was some additional in the EFCU checking. So we put $250,000 in there from savings, and then we took 300,000 and moved that into the Nevada State Bank checking. So that's why you see some relatively large numbers on debits and deposits on those 3 accounts. It's just money moving. You see on screen from left to right. Not a lot of deposits from outside money to speak of, not a lot of debits from outside money to speak of. There's about 23,000 of operating expenses that were spent.
And Fernando, if you have questions, because you can't see that, if you know something isn't
No,
clear.
no, I trust your judgment.
Okay,
And then I wasn't sure what the best way to present this is, so I'm actually showing the same thing 2 different ways here on the left. Because that money that was transferred from one account to the next, that is money coming out of our left pocket going into our right pocket. However, those are withdrawals and deposits into our account, so they are recorded as such. That's why on the left side here, you see deposits of a little over $500,000 and debits of just shy of 600,000. But again, that is money transferring internal. So if we take those internal transfers out and look at what might be more meaningful, just external money coming in and our money going out, is what you see on the right there. And of course, the totals all add up the same either way. So we started the month with $430,142.36. And we ended the month with $411,898.50 for a loss this month of $18,243.86. So that's about 2,000 more than what we had last year. And you can disregard that plot. So with that, are there any questions?
I don't think so.
That $5,000, is that was that a donation that went in? It was like 5,051, but a donation plus $51 or something.
Yeah,
And I just deposited another $25,000 that came in last week, I think it was. So there's still donations that are coming in.
was that a single one? Because it seemed like somebody, Dorothy mentioned somebody was donating 10. Was that one you guys got? So that's separate. So those aren't included in.
If those went into the bank this month, no, they're not included.
Yeah, that would be just for March. That'll be in the March report.
Okay, good.
Yep, it's happening.
It just makes me appreciative that the founding board did all of this work, because I can't imagine opening up a charter school and with nickel and diming, you know what I mean? Like most are, I just can't even imagine
You would be there
the
without.
stress we would be under. Yeah, so it's.
Well, as we've mentioned many times, when we went to that Hillsdale board training last year, so many board members came up to us and said, we will trade you what we have for your money. We will give you our school leader, we will give you our building, we'll give you whatever, if you will give us your money. So we're in a good situation.
Great job, really like both ways of showing that, because that
Yeah.
helps us see how that
Yeah.
works, so appreciate that.
Sir.
Thank you.
Okay, number 6. Do school leader report and then we. short break.
Okay. School leader report. There is a copy of that in your folder. So you can follow along. I'll pull it up here. And this is really starting to become I know where it is. Exciting position, because within minutes, things are changing every day.
Right way to look at it.
And just like I said, just when I think, okay, I've got this one itty bitty piece under control, then guess what? It really isn't.
Yeah, but it says right here at the top, your brain can 1
That's
quintillion
right.
calculations per second. So what's the problem?
That's why I put it on there, because that's every day I'm like, I can't believe I can keep track of all of
You're
this.
right. You're getting the 1 quintillion.
I go,
You're not using a percentage.
I know, like, guys, wait till I really fire in. Yes, so yeah, I'm glad you noticed that, Joe. Thank you for noticing. Okay, so here we go. Fostering classical education. Continue to attend the foundational principles. And I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I'm in there with 2 middle school students. It's online and it is hilarious, and I am loving every single minute of it. They make me laugh, and I'm learning a lot from them. Leadership team,
Can we
nothing.
stay on that first?
Oh, yes.
Because Jan even mentioned that, you know, the Facebook posts
Mhm.
you're sending out of the curriculum and all of those things, plus the stuff in the newspapers, right?
Mhm.
That's all fostering classical education.
That's true.
So you left a few things out there that you've been doing.
We should add
that I think
that.
are really positive,
Yeah.
that people are noticing. And I get, when I share them, people respond to me instantly
Oh,
on,
good.
they're really curious about that curriculum and they like to see those.
Awesome. And kudos to Amber for that, because Amber has created all of those curriculum posts, so nice.
It's nice for parents to see what actually is going to be occurring.
And we have over here, as you leave, if you're interested, we have what will you learn in K 1, 2, 3. And so we created those for the community events, and several people have taken them. And we had a art committee meeting and they took some and they were like, I wish other schools would do this. So
Yeah.
but we borrowed those from founders, so always give credit away.
Okay.
Okay, so support staff management. Unfortunately, Amber is resigning. Her family has had a wonderful opportunity to move to Bismarck, North Dakota.
Yep.
So, but don't worry, I already have a plan and we're already solving the problem. So, I reached out to other people that I had interviewed for that position. Kat Herone is going to come in part-time. Amber, as of April 1st, will be part-time. Kat will be part-time. They're gonna overlap April, and then at the end of April, we'll figure out what we're gonna do next. Depending on Amber's departure schedule and Kat and all these, there's lots of other variables that I won't waste your time on, but the bottom line is it's already been solved, but here we go.
Tell us her name again.
Kat Herone, Hearon, Catherine, but she goes by Kat. So she will come here Friday for our first Infinite Campus training, and then she'll be here next Thursday and Friday with us for Infinite Campus training. So the timing is perfect in some ways, because her and Amber can work together in April and get our kids enrolled, because that's the big push for April, is to get these kids enrolled. And so now we'll have two bodies, which in some ways I think is better too, because we can create better systems. We have one more person to help us solve the systems issues. And Kat's done enrollment in other schools. She has experience at the NYTC. She was a secretary out there, or a school assistant out there. So anyway, that's why you keep resumes for when life happens. And in the long run, it's saving the school money, because now we have two part-time employees and we don't have to pay benefits. So there you go.
There you go. Silver lining.
Always, always. Okay, the number 4, the really exciting news is we have a 3rd grade teacher who is committed, who is coming from Founders and has been teaching for 4 years in a classical school. So prayers are answered in that regard. The right people are coming. So she's on board as can be. And again, life, who knows? We'll see what happens.
That's awesome.
Teacher recruitment, we're upping our game. I created the individual teacher specific targeting teachers flyer. It's out through Elko Chamber. Lisa's putting it through Hillsdale. I put it through Grand Canyon University. Ben Payne mentioned this red balloon, which I will investigate as a job board, and then maybe local service groups. If any of you know or are connected, we could do some presentations there. So I did get 2 more strong interviews. One's a licensed teacher who is out of education but is maybe considering coming back. Another is probably more of an instructional aide, but 2 really strong applicants. So I'll be interviewing them next week to get a feel for where they fit so it's working, in other words. And then the instructional aide, support aide, counselor, and school nurse job descriptions are drafted. Joe and I worked on those a little bit yesterday, the aides, and we'll get those posted and again, just start collecting resumes.
I also spoke with Ashley Perkins yesterday at EIAA, and she said that she is recommending folks to come to us. So she's also sending them to come and talk to you if they're looking for open positions.
Yeah. So I think and this is right, you guys know better than I, some of you, this is the time of year when teachers are starting to think about next year. So I suspect we're gonna start getting some more action here in the next couple of months.
And I hear the misinformation about, they don't think we're paying PERS and they don't think we're giving benefits. They don't think, so make sure when you talk to people that you reiterate that, no, we are doing all of those things. You get the same things. We are doing a little different paid model, which actually would benefit them more than the system that they're currently in.
Where are those rumors coming from?
Who knows? Whether it's just they hear in charter school, and they don't think they do those things, or they thought we were private, or whatever. These are people in the school district. So they really don't know, even though it's on the flyers, it's talked about it, but if you're talking to anybody, just keep pushing out there that yes, we do pay all of those things.
Just lack of information. It's very common lack of information.
To people who might be interested, or act people.
Yeah, so that part's clicking along nicely. The school calendar, the current school calendar is in your binder in case you want to keep that for you. And then it's available on the website, and that hasn't changed. The scheduled literacy change, the scheduled math and literacy trainings have not changed. I am going to start a newsletter in April that will highlight the enrollment procedures, the grand opening, the art donation to fill the school with art, things like that. So once a month, there'll be a newsletter coming out from me that will start that in April. The number 8, the school handbook, the good news is it's back from legal review and just had very, very minor changes. So we should be able to finalize that tonight. Relations, everything, I think, unless you're hearing something different, we have great relations with SBCSA and Hillsdale. We'll continue to nurture those. The budget, working with Cam, we're starting to work on that year 1 budget and drill down into all those nitty gritty pieces. I'll share with you the stipend plan here later for year 0 and that whole spending plan. So you guys are all just on the same page as I am. And then I appreciate the donation campaign because we're seeing money come in. I don't know if it's from what you guys are doing or what it happened to be just coinciding, but it's nice to see that support come in. And it's just a real shot in the arm that people believe in what we're doing, right? So that's encouraging. Because there are days when I think, what in the world? I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, holy cow. But anyway, yeah. State testing requirements, this meeting got pushed back due to a family emergency by the NWEA representative. So I'm still working out some of the details and have lots of questions, but we'll keep working. We have time. Marketing, so Amber in her super cool application spreadsheet, we ask where did they hear about us? And so we have data like, was it the radio? Was it everything Elko? So that we can make better decisions about advertising into the future. And so what's super cool is so far radio and everything Elko have paid for themselves in the sense that if those children that have marked, that's how they heard about us, enroll, it paid for itself. So that's good to know. Yeah. And then we got this super cool opportunity for the grocery carts and the fence ads that are happening at Smith's. I don't know if you guys pay attention, but there's ads on the grocery carts. Somebody else had to back out of a contract, so we were able to take over their contract for 12 months for relatively, in advertising world, relatively cheap. And I think that's super cool because that gets us into people we would never even think of. And lots of people go to Smith's. And so we, like I said, took advantage of a partial contract for the next 12 months. So we'll see. And again, we'll just keep tracking if that's getting us traction. But I really like that because that is like wide open marketing. Great. And I don't know, I should ask Amber, I'm not sure how that person contacted us, like why we get to take over that contract. I'm not sure. I'll have to ask if we know that.
What about the postcards? We used to go by out or?
Postcards have been out.
So they did go out.
Yes, they're out.
Okay.
We've had a couple from that.
Nice.
And there's postcards by the camera. So if you want to take a few to hand out, you're welcome to.
I will look at it.
Disciplinary policy number 13 that we have, I did draft it up as part of our family and student handbook. So we'll talk about more of that in a little bit. The facility, you guys just learned about 3 Oaks and the furniture and fixtures. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. They are actively working upstairs in the library to finish that ceiling, and they have the IT closet built out. So that's all exciting. And then we're talking about technology, CIO services. That's Daniel's group. Daniel came in. Our network is working phenomenal. Our internet and all that is working. So we're working on how we get our next step for that.
You went up there.
Emergency plan is on the back burner for right now. And then the succession plan, I don't know if this is where it fits, but I wanted to say, I have started my master's in education courses at Grand Canyon University, and I've survived my first week. Congratulations. So that's a little bit of an adjustment. It's just interesting. Thursday to Wednesday is their week. Which is kind of cool because like I can get like Monday in this place and then I'm like Thursday is my Monday, but it's gonna take me a little bit to get it all squared away. But anyway, it started
It's a lot.
and when you see me turning circles, you'll know why.
Did they waive a lot of your courses?
So, and you'll remember that was part of the contract is that the school is paying 2/3 of the cost and I'm paying 1/3 of the cost. So you'll start to see that cost of the courses come through on the financial reports. So it's actively started. And I've already learned something, so it's already worth it.
Just don't burn yourself out. I mean,
Yeah,
it
so-
takes longer.
Yeah.
This has got to be the priority.
Absolutely. So any questions on that? And if not, well, there's a lot of details on some of these that we'll dive into on the agenda items.
That's
What's our enrollment at now?
Oh, thank you for asking. I forgot the best news. Here it is, 104 as of today.
Yay, that kinder.
And the good news is,
Boy, we're really in nice shape right there.
can you guys see that or do I need to make it bigger?
And describe it so Fernando.
Okay, so Fernando, we have 43 kindergarten applicants, 26 first grade, 16 second grade, 18 third grade. The thing I'm really loving about this is our first round seating application closes on Friday. At this point, we would
Yeah.
not have to have a lottery and we can honor all of these people who put their applications in first, which like this is a win-win for us. And then we have between now and May to get 13 more, and then we have a full school. And we're already over, if all of these people apply, we've already met the deadline or the requirement for SPCSA.
Wonderful.
Go team, that's because you guys
that is
have.
awesome.
So,
Have fun.
Feels good.
And it's nice that you get the two together because it's.
yeah, that's like perfect.
Fernando, I heard you say something, but I wasn't sure what it was.
Oh, I said that's just awesome.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
And EIAA has now almost 800.
800 we
It's like
heard.
783,
What's their capacity? How many?
400,
701?
83 kids on their wait list.
Wow.
So
That's
I
gonna,
expect we'll be able to fill in the rest of these.
Gonna fill in with that.
Do their lottery.
Yeah,
and
Yeah.
so-
they'll turn around and come to us.
Yeah.
so if we do we won't, there's a deadline where we could honor all of these and then as
Tomorrow or Friday.
Friday.
Friday, and they're all in. And then if we do a lottery, it's only,
We don't do a lottery.
And you
We
just
won't do a lottery if the.
then it's
this
just
states
whoever
the-
comes in, then
In order.
next. Oh,
Yeah.
wonderful.
That's first count.
This is just,
And we can go to
It's a
10%, so we can go 48.
right,
There,
I think it's pretty full.
first grade is potential lottery.
Yeah. Oh.
We can go up to 27 though, we could. If
And I remember,
we,
yeah,
how we
people
balance
have
our numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think at this point, we'll let them all in and then, because you have to remember 10% won't come anyway.
That's right.
The general 10% rule of life.
Yeah, right. Like with Amber, we need to turn it on.
So it's good news. So thank you, Hank, for reminding me. I had it up, but forgot to show
That
it.
is fantastic.
And
That's right.
I brought up with Brandlin on the kindergarten, depending on the amount of teachers we have applied and what our financial situation looks like, we've never really discussed half-day kindergarten.
Oh, I wouldn't want to do that all day.
There's still a lot of people,
Parents'
parents asking
expectations.
for that in the community.
And it would be, you'd have to ask, right, the people that are there, but when I did the research on that for the school district, when we were at half-day and moving to the full day, you only gained like 40 minutes of instructional time. It doesn't equate to double like people think. And so student achievement really, it doesn't change. And half-day for that age, it
Yeah.
would be better. Anyways,
And kindergarten is by statute, isn't required to attend full day?
it's how many
It's
minutes?
5 minutes,
It's
26.
5 minutes, and a half-day meets the minute requirement.
You can fit, yeah, you can.
You'd like to do two sections in the morning, two sections in the afternoon?
No, you just have one, right? There's 40 kids, so you hire one teacher instead of two.
Oh, it's
And the
split.
teacher teaches the morning and like they used to.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
it
think that's
saves you
just
one,
a lot.
saves you one teacher position,
Yeah,
right? If we have, if we have to,
yeah.
but also what's best for kids. So you have, it's an option that we hadn't really talked about, but if we get into that position, I put 240 there, but that's not for kindergarten.
Yeah, this is state mandated minimums for kinder.
I think
240.
we wrote that, but I think it was less than that.
No, this is, I went and got it off the memo.
Is it that?
For,
Yeah.
for kinder.
But it
K2.
meets, we meet with our schedule, a half day is the requirement.
So, and we're kind of off topic, but yeah, this, I have it all mapped out. I can tell you exactly. This is for 3rd through 6th and then,
That's three, yeah. And then
um,
I have that one document where I compared how many minutes we have to what's required,
like here, we're over.
days we're over and stuff, so. And I think I have my grade level in that one chart. Anyways, it's something to keep in the back of your mind if we get to that, or maybe it's philosophically, we want a half day.
Well,
And
when's the
it
class
wouldn't require a change with our charter agreement, I don't think.
As long as we're meeting minutes.
I'm wondering if there's a Hillsdale, because I just know from being an elementary educator, my last however many years before I went to the district, it's an intense curriculum. Not that it's ideal, but it's, it would.
So we'll talk about that when the time is right.
Yeah, it's pretty
We're a
intense.
little off
It's-
right now, but.
I'm not bringing it up for discussion now, it's
No.
just something
Something
that
to consider.
you're thinking about, I guess, so.
We have options.
No.
All right, can we do a quick 5-minute break?
Let's
So, thank you, pause.
Pausing recording.
set the timer.
Okay, so let's back in session and we're on item number 7, committee reports, none, old business, item 8, review fiscal policies and procedures.
All right, so this is the beginning of the policy run. So Lisa, thanks to Lisa and Amy, these are looking mighty fine. We have worked hard to get them formatted up. We addressed the comments that we received from the board members. So what we're looking here for is approval, so we can move to our next step. So this is a huge document. I don't know if you want me to go through all the nitty gritty, but this is what it's looking like. Very different than what you reviewed. Not the content, but just how it's nicely formatted. And hopefully all our documents will have this similar look. So what's the board's pleasure of?
Well, we did have some
There was,
changes from what you originally received, because we had conversations with founders who gave us recommendations of some things to change.
But the board saw all those.
So we did see all those.
Mhm.
Okay.
the one that we haven't seen was Katie on the one that just came in. Katie did have a couple things we need to talk about.
That's another, that's
That's another agenda.
different
Okay.
document. Yep.
Because
So this is specifically just for this financial
Oh,
policy.
just the financial, I thought you were looking at.
Oh, no, just this one. We'll do one at a time.
You had something about whistleblower, I thought, or
Yeah.
something.
You had
Yes.
a few comments on this one
I
that
did-
I'm
I
interested
did
in,
have a
how
few.
those were addressed.
Yeah, primarily dealing with systems in place for reporting fraud or financial concern.
Mhm.
And so did that get answered and your concerns and questions, did that get put in?
I don't know, I haven't seen an updated one since yesterday.
No, this is the one we wrote.
Kate, will you say what you just said?
Yeah,
Your
so
concern is what?
I had some comments about some material that I think should be in that document that was not, regarding systems set in place for whistleblowers and whistleblower protection, and how to respond to concerns of fraud or financial concerns.
Okay.
So we talked about fraud specifically where I remember writing about fraud.
So you address fraud, but there are no pathways spelled out for, if I'm a teacher and I see fraud happening, how am I supposed to address that?
So I think that, does that go in this, or does that go in the employee handbook where we talk about whistleblowing? Because in the employee handbook is whistleblowing. That's different than maybe, I'm arguing, I'm perspective. This is specifically for the financial.
So, yeah, I guess in that case, a whistleblower policy should go in the employee manual, but I think that pathways for dealing with fraud should be in this document.
I
Okay,
agree with that. Specifically related to financial.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay,
fraud and
Like if there's concerns of fraud, who is responsible to do what? How do we start an investigation? What's the timeline for those things to happen?
visual fraud.
thank you.
What happened to your, how many?
Quadrillion employees are not fired.
It's gone.
So here's where we talk about fraud risk. So
There you
you're saying here we could put something about, like, do you want just a statement or do we want a whole process laid out?
I think we need a process laid out because if a teacher comes to you or goes to one of the board members because they're concerned about you or your actions, what do? We need to have an idea of how we respond to that.
Doesn't belong there.
Yeah, I think it belongs in the employee, only because it's gonna get muddy if you have different procedures for different actions, and then we follow one, but we miss it on another one, and you just gotta be careful, because this is coming from a previous administrator, she's trying to manage all of this, and if you go, oh, shoot, I was following the grievance or the whistleblower process in my employee handbook, but this was fraud, I should have been, maybe we just
But
make
they
a
probably
statement.
just need to align. They just need.
They just need to
say-
align, and I'm gonna disagree with you, Amy, on that, because if this is fraud, that pertains to all of the board as well. That is
Yeah.
external to just the employees.
Fair enough.
I was just saying, it doesn't belong here in the document because these are the principles. So this doesn't outline the process or how it's gonna work. This outlines sort of the principles of how it needs to be later in the
Another
document
section somewhere.
in a different
It's
section.
under control activities, I suppose.
Six results, so maybe let's see, segregation of duties. No, that's not it.
I think we just talk about how to avoid it in this, not what to do when it happens. Is that?
Maybe once you just.
Yeah,
Well, no, I think you need to talk about what to do when it happens because this is our financial policy and procedures.
right, but Joe's saying that currently we just talked about how to.
Oh, yeah. But,
I think
sorry.
that That's the gist of what.
Yeah.
What's in there, yes.
But we should have policies to.
So could we just reference the whistleblower policy in another? In this document, just say for
Any,
fraud violations, reference the whistleblower policy and wherever that's
I'm
located.
thinking,
I don't think so, because we need guidance for what we as a board have to do.
Okay, and then, so they both should match though?
Yeah,
They should
they
align.
have to align.
Yeah.
But I think maybe in the whistleblower say, hey, in matters of financial fraud, please refer to the financial policy. So the whistleblower protection is if I'm Brandolin, an employee comes to me and says, hey, I saw, this other thing happening, or comes to the board and say, hey, I saw this other thing happening. That whistleblower policy is outlining their protections, how we respond to them and their employment.
yes.
It's not going into how we're handling the problem they brought to our attention.
Yeah.
So is that language that we create or Katie McConnell creates or?
or is it part of CAM, because there are.
There's gotta be a policy for dealing with fraud out there somewhere that we can largely.
I'm just shocked if this all comes from existing.
Right, so this comes from Oasis and Founders, which didn't have anything because it's, I think, maybe they're thinking it's because it's in their employee book, right? The process is in the employee handbook, like,
But then what if we're in it, we're not employees?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And well,
Yeah,
and
no,
to
I
Nick's
agree.
point, what are we gonna do if we find out somebody's stealing money or?
hey, Colleen, are you still on there?
Yeah.
I am still on here.
Do you hear this conversation and do you know of anything that Founders or does CAM Nevada have any insights on fraud reporting and what to do if the board discovers it or it's brought to the board?
We have procedures in the handbook. And the board has, I think the board has procedures, what they do if it's reported in the audit.
Maybe that's where this belongs, is in board policy.
That makes more sense.
That makes more sense to me, because it should be a generic policy. Whenever something comes to the board, you do this process, not specific. I think I'm right, like, I'm with you. I think it's gonna be like.
Which vote
Policies, we need,
Yeah, I think that's a board policy, maybe.
on reporting of anything, financial or anything, I don't know that you want to delineate, oh, this is financial, we use this, oh, this is some other suspicious behavior or activity. We go to here, it's like you're involving law enforcement with 99% of
Yes.
all things.
Do you feel that because it is a financial matter, that there are certain things that will be different with that than
Sexual or.
a sexual harassment claim or something? Yeah.
I
I don't know.
Absolutely.
think, above law enforcement.
Fernando, do you have some input on that, Fernando?
I just say absolutely should be completely different.
The financial fraud
The-
compared to something like sexual misconduct.
Yeah,
More where it's housed though.
The procedure
procedure.
for,
All of them need to be housed in one policy area. And each one has a different.
And so maybe that goes in the board policy manual and there's a chapter responding to crises and
Yeah.
there's a section for dealing
I think
with
that's
sexual
where it goes.
misconduct, a section for dealing with fraud, a section for dealing with.
And it looks just like the employee, it's the same language as the employee, whether it's a board member or an employee, this is how we're involving law enforcement or investigating or protecting whistleblowers.
Yeah, so it has to align, the language will be a little bit different for the board because we have a different responsibility engaging that problem than staff does.
Yeah.
do you
And we
meet
did
with,
put a whistleblower policy in the board manual.
Mm-hmm.
do you meet with this PCSA this week, next week?
Not till.
Or you can just ask them, because they have requirements for things that we have to have in place by certain amounts of time and things. Could you just see if they can clarify how many places we need that or where the best location is? Should it be under governance or should we have it in each of these to make sure it's covered?
Yeah. Yeah.
We gotta have it somewhere.
8 of these tonight,
Yeah.
would we have it in every one of them, or if you think it was academic?
No, it wouldn't.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just gonna
Yeah.
get super muddy and then there's.
So I think the point is valid. I think we want to make sure we have it. I think it goes in board policies and procedures as a generic because we will never know. Again, you can't write policy for specifics. It's if a complaint comes, you guys will get the complaint and then you're gonna have to figure out what do we do with this complaint? Right? And it'll be different paths depending on what it is. So nowhere for this document, what was required by SPCSA, there was no requirement for the whistleblower construct. So as I think we need to absolutely put it somewhere, but I'm pushing back as school leader because we need to approve these policies and move forward. This is what SPCSA wants for this policy. So can we agree that we will figure out this important topic, which I think is 100% we need, but it's not gonna go into this document. That goes elsewhere, I think. And I think so we can approve this document and get it submitted to SPCSA and move on to our next one.
As long as we have a plan, like I'm comfortable voting for that as long as we have a plan in place to do it and not just an ethereal promise that, oh, we will do this later.
I'll commit that I will find out and have the conversation with SPCSA and ask them where their opinion on where the best. Is it in the bylaws? We know we have it in the employees, so the big question is, where do we put it so that it covers board?
Right, how does the board respond to these different crises?
Yeah.
And who's responsible for what?
Yeah.
Okay, and I will follow up with that, yes.
And
could we ask legal counsel?
I can't hear.
Say that again, please.
Could we ask legal counsel?
Legal counsel.
Yeah, I can ask.
That's a good idea.
Too.
I want to make sure I'm clear because I'm not in this. So because we have the whistleblower, we have stuff that teachers are doing that. Are you talking about fraud? Let's say a board member takes a bribe to have a kid in the school or something weird like that. Are we talking about fraud in that a policy for that? That goes under board governance.
You know, I hadn't thought of that, but yeah, that's a different concern. But if a teacher comes to one of us, pulls aside and said, hey, I saw this administrator doing X, Y, or Z with money that's supposed to belong to the school, how do we respond to that? We have no written guidance on what we as board members are supposed to do.
I think we do.
We have a whistleblower, but I
But
think
that's different than a
where
whistleblower.
it fits.
No,
Or reporting, there's a reporting.
I think we have that under our governance.
Need to find it and make it sure we're very clear.
And you know, in that case, if it's financial fraud, then as treasurer, it's probably on me to go look through those financial records and see if we find missing money. And there should be a timeline associated with that. I have 10 days to go through and do that.
Yeah,
We need
exactly.
to
What's the process?
make sure those processes are in place.
So we have so many policies, it's hard to. keep
That's
them
why
all.
in one place is best, and it could
Yeah.
be something like a bribe, it could be all, they can fill in.
And I-
I
anything
think like
illegal.
your idea of sort of an emergency response or a crisis response
Mhm.
form for this board, and we can work on that.
You know, and I
That
don't
could
know
be
how
fun.
specific we have to make it, if we have to have like, oh, if there's concerns of sexual misconduct, concerns of financial fraud, or if we can kind of make it more general and like the board member that's overseeing this particular thing responds to it, and, you know, in case of money, that's me as treasurer, in case of something else, that may be somebody else, right?
That's right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then who reports it to law enforcement, when, timelines, all of that, yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a code of conduct, but I don't know if there's a procedure
Mhm.
in that other doc, just trying to picture it.
So we'll create,
Somebody's got it.
crisis response addition to the board manual.
Yes.
And then with the other things that you had already said you would do, check with
We'll
SPCSA
double
legal
check,
and see if that's an okay way to do it.
Okay.
And then check with the founders, EIA, you know, any of your collaborating partners probably already have dealt with this.
Okay, so we know we need that, we're just not sure where it goes.
Right.
But I believe, so if we have any other discussion on this, then we'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the financial policy and procedures document as presented.
Do we have a motion? Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Any other discussion on the financial policy and procedures manual? Being none, all in favor, say aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Fernando votes aye. I vote aye for the record. Motion passes. We'll work on that one. So,
Good work.
and then with all the other stuff that went along with that, Brandon's gonna do to get that going. Item B, review English learner policy and handbook.
So this English learner policy and plan comes straight out of SPCSA. That's why we left their logo on, because they literally
Yeah.
tell us what to do. This is basically saying that we will educate English learners, we will assess them, we will identify them, we will make sure that they have access to grade level curriculum and support them and their families. In a nutshell, that's what this policy says, and it's completely boilerplate from the state.
I do like, and again, going to Hank, he had some great questions, and the EL and the ELL is a very good one, because it used to always be ELL. Then they changed it to EL, but a lot of the testing documents still have ELL. So there is one little sentence in there, it's not this small, that just says they're kind of interchangeable.
Mhm.
But yeah, a lot of people are like, why do you do both here? And there used to be LEP and some other ESL,
There's lots.
EL's the new, the latest.
Okay, so when I read through this, I wasn't looking at the one that was online. I looked at the one that we were sent, and I don't know if we got that changed, but it had a section on training from Hillsdale.
Yes, we took the Hillsdale out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was, for a policy, it was kind of more of a support manual, but I think some of that got taken care of too, right?
Yes, so like down here, and that was
It's a really nice, clean policy.
like 16 is the professional development. And that's where that Hillsdale stuff was, and we took all that out.
Because it's policy, not kind of.
Yeah.
All the,
The weeds.
not a guidebook.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what's hard in policies, if we overwrite and say too many things, it limits us.
Mhm.
We tried to cut as much as we could that wasn't required, and there's so much in there that's unnecessary, but it's required, so we had to leave it.
Yeah, and that's hard.
They're gonna check.
Yeah, SPCSA requires a bunch of this stuff in there, but as far as a policy document, it's more,
More procedural.
yeah.
Yeah.
More procedural, that's
It
what.
looks great.
That's right.
Yeah, this is a clean one. The font looks good, everything. When they give you the format, it's helpful.
Yeah, so I think as far as the policy stuff and then the content was good. And then we removed the Hillsdale reference.
Mhm.
Okay. Any questions or other discussion on that one?
I don't have Hank's paper anymore that we looked at.
Okay, so we'll entertain a motion.
I have it pulled up on screen.
I got it right. I thought there was one other one, but no, never mind. Those were all pretty.
Yeah, I just had some questions about some of the laws and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, most of those, they're good questions. I like, especially because you're, you're not in education, so he brings up some really good questions.
So not my area of expertise.
Scroll down just a little bit, Brandon, to the,
Oh, shoot.
up there.
Oops, here it is.
Because every one of these documents, Brandon and I talked about this today, it has the mission and the vision and
Mhm.
all
I
of
like
those things
that
in
too.
there. Well, overall policy manual, once it's have all the policies in place, is one document. And these are all separate documents because the SPCSA is kind of making it that way. You have to have this, so all those things are duplicated multiple times in all these documents. But eventually it'll be a document that is a policy manual that contains all the policies. So, because I'd ask her, why do we keep repeating all these things? Why don't we just have a policy? Why don't we just-
They have
Well,
to.
that's what they expect, so.
Yeah,
It looks great.
it does. This is
Do we have a motion
really good.
to approve the
English,
English learner policy and handbook?
I'll make that motion. Is Joe stated?
Motion by Amy, second.
We're looking at you, Hank.
All right.
Second by
Somebody
Hank.
else, you gotta get somebody else.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Fernando, I vote aye for the record, motion passes. Review employee handbook, item C.
All right, the great news about the employee handbook is you've seen it multiple times, and we heard back from Katie McConnell today. That was the last request, was that it was legally reviewed. She reviewed it and maybe had 10 improvements language for us.
Yeah.
And we incorporated that today, so
There
the,
were a couple though that.
oh yeah, you said,
Yeah, that we need to discuss because, when it's just a check because it's a language thing, it's like, yeah, no problem. But she had a couple of questions.
do you remember where they were?
They're all, kind of all throughout. I just scrolled. How many pages on?
51. Oh,
51? Okay, yeah, just start scrolling.
Are they yellow? or-
Yeah, there are comments right on the side.
Oh,
Oh, there's one.
okay. Appeal, yeah. So, this kind of gets to what Hank was talking about, actually, in some ways. So this is the process that this is under, let me get you guys the context of where this is. So this is open door policy, that we are open to every employee and you can come and talk to me at any time. And then it says, employee concerns will be directed if an employee is not satisfied, the employee can appeal to the governing board. And she's saying, make a more correct version as the employee can make a request to the board. Otherwise, there should be an appeal procedure, which kind of gets to what Hank is alluding to with our crisis response concept. So, yes.
Change it to make a request.
Make a request to the governing board, and then in our governing board documents, we need to have which we do have an appeal process in there.
Well, if the complaint is against the school leader,
It goes directly to the
then
board.
it goes directly to the board. It should state that.
Mhm. It does somewhere, it does say if it's with,
Somewhere else.
you can, it does say that somewhere else.
This section is specifically related to talking to the school leader.
Yep.
Right?
And so this does kind of, I guess, go back to what I was thinking about earlier, but if presumably, if that happens, the teacher, whoever is concerned about the school leader would reach out to one of us. So if one of these people calls me up and says, hey, I have these concerns, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to agendize it for the next board meeting? Am I supposed to call everybody and we have a panic meeting?
Exactly.
No, and I think it does specify some of that. I believe all of those things have to come through me, unless the complaint is about me, then I don't know what to do. But if it's,
So if somebody reaches out to me about a problem, then I have to pass it on to you and then you get to decide what we do.
Yeah.
With that.
How do we agendize whether we have to have a closed session?
Mhm.
You know, because if it's personnel directed, we don't have an open meeting about that, so we have to determine, I have to determine what type of meeting that will be.
It just,
And there are, it seems like there were some timelines and things in there. But
There are.
look for the little, you better watch if she's, there's one.
So this, I think, one of the things that Ben Payne and I spoke about last time, and this is into why we need a board retreat and some governance training, is because he said you as a board need to be trained on how do you handle parents. Because parents, as soon as we put out the list, parents are going to like Hank saying, hey, Hank, blah, 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 blah. So I think these are all super valid questions, and it comes to that idea of governance and why we need to get some training on the books for you guys so that you can address these and then update the policies of the board.
And I think we need to make sure, come at it as one body.
Yes.
Not individual responses.
Yeah.
What do you call it, united front?
Yeah.
And that's even Ben was saying, like, the very first statement out of the board's mouth should be, have you talked to the teacher? Have you talked to the school leader?
That's right.
And if the answer is no, then you stop the conversation and say, until you've done that, I'm not in this conversation, because we like respect the chain of command. But we need to, like Kim's saying, we need to all hear the same thing. We need to come to agreement on that.
Yeah.
And then work on practicing, because that's gonna be the hard, it's easy to say it, it's harder when they're in your face.
Yeah, and they're gonna come to us individually, whoever
Right.
they know one of us or
Exactly.
whatever, so.
And so I think that's, yeah, we need to get some training on that for all of us, really.
Yeah, we can talk about that part later too, so.
So I was confused on this one because I don't know if she was thinking maybe just a Nevada teaching license doesn't really have a federal law piece, but I think the whole paragraph obviously has federal law involved with background checks and things like that.
Can we just change it to with applicable laws and take out state and federal?
Yeah. That just solves it. 'Cause I'm like,
No problem. I don't know the answer to that,
Is
but
there
I
everybody
think
good
the
with that?
sentence before, yeah, that fits it.
Like that? Is
Yeah.
everybody okay with that?
Yeah, that works.
then there's no question.
That
Okay.
works.
Easiest solution.
Yeah, it's good.
And,
It's like 2 or 3.
no. Oop, which one?
Yeah.
And can you zoom it up just a little bit?
Absolutely, yeah, thank you. Better?
Oh, yeah, this one, the second,
Do you want to more clearly define, because the last sentence is vague, could be difficult to enforce? I would define as within the second degree of consanguinity or affinity. So we're saying here that, hiring relatives, person who is related by blood or marriage.
so we should just use her language because that's what that conflict of interest
Yeah.
language is.
So by second degree of,
Yeah,
take out blood, does it start here?
Yeah.
Like this? Like
Like
this?
by the second, blah, blah, blah.
By second degree. You guys, I've never even heard of that.
If you,
Yeah,
is
legally,
that an ethics violation?
it's how much blood you share.
That's right.
So what does that effectively mean in practice?
You're gonna learn that when we go through our training with
Yeah.
but if basically you have to disclose relationships, like say we're working with a vendor and it's my second cousin twice removed, I don't have to disclose, but if it's,
Yeah.
you'll learn
But
all
if
of
it's your
that.
second cousin.
But she's
then you
all
do.
saying with hiring, let's
It's
just keep
that-
it the same.
Yeah, it's the second degree of, that's like, if it's your sixth cousin, you don't have to
Yeah.
disclose.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're good with that then?
And they actually have charts and spreadsheets, because it is complicated, but after you go through the training, because we had to. So it makes sense.
All right. I love it. I'll learn more. Okay, so this one has to do with outside work. So we are saying that a person could work outside of NCAE if as long as it doesn't conflict with NCAE.
Yeah.
And then she's asking, what about owning another company like a consulting company?
So the sentence is, if outside work activity causes or contributes to job-related problems, so you're already, if they have a contracting issue that's not a conflict, it's a non-issue, but if it's creating a conflict, then.
Oh, and maybe she's just wanting us to clarify up here that
Yeah.
we say other,
She's referencing that.
oops, there's one.
She's asking it right.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
boogers, did it take us to a different place?
It did, it took you that.
Oh, did we go up or down? Anybody pay attention to what page we were on?
No. Keep going. Try to look for the box.
It's weird to me that we have to specify something like that. If you're not doing your job, you're subject to.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what she's like getting at because we say like other employment, as long as it's not like Joe, you're saying, as long as it's not interfering with job performance.
But if I'm a teacher here, am I allowed to, in the summer, run a business teaching other teachers classical education?
You can even work after school. You
Yeah.
can go work down at the.
So for example, it doesn't apply to employment that occurs after the school year's contracted days, for example, during summer break. So you can run your own business during, maybe you're mowing lawns all summer, something. So it doesn't.
So maybe what we need to just say is other employment or consulting opportunity.
Wouldn't that be?
Other
I think
employment or
she's-
business venture, because she
Yeah.
specifically says like owning a consultancy.
That's exactly it. She's asking us if we want to include owning a company, not just being employed by another company.
To have other employment business ventures.
I don't think you need venture, just business.
Okay, so it's different than
Or other business,
working
how
for
about
somebody.
business activity?
Or ownership is that I mean, the point is, right, they own a company versus are being employed by another.
Can we say including ownership?
Yeah,
I don't know that in there.
that
If it does
definition
not-
really matters.
Because the comment's kind of pulling out consulting, like owning, she definitely says owning another. It's a beeping noise, doesn't it?
And I don't know that they need your approval, they need to let you know. Okay, I want to start a business doing whatever. They don't need your approval,
Mm-mm.
Do you want to take this out now?
they should, notify you. that
Yeah, they don't need your approval. Some of them have to do it financially. To
So-
survive.
So you want to change this then?
I think so.
Do they have to have her approval to get another job?
No,
Well, they're
you
working
shouldn't.
at
That's
all.
why you don't have authority.
So it
for
all
that.
needs to be changed to employees must inform the school leader before undertaking any action.
Must inform.
Yeah.
Wait, all employees, including part-time, must inform the school leader. I don't think before either, of any outside employment or work activities.
Yeah, I think the purpose of informing her is that in case, then she can determine if there's a conflict of interest
Yeah,
and say,
exactly.
okay, now we have a problem because you're doing
Yeah. At least-
whatever it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Dunzo, delete.
There's a couple, like 2 or 3 more, I think. One of them was very similar to. Maybe not. A lot of them were just little grammar things.
Yeah, that's what I think that may have been the last. I should,
Can't you click up on comments and then it shows you the comments?
See where it says previous
There you go.
or next.
There you go.
oh, this is the very last statement down on there.
Just click on it, it'll take you to it, I think.
This.
Oh,
Yes.
You have to have
Oh,
those, yes.
interesting. Okay.
Click there.
All right. Thanks, boss.
So then that's it.
Okay, so I'll go through and double check everything, of course, but this is ready, I think.
And based on all the other formatting that we did on the other documents, like the spacing, the line spacing and stuff, if you need help with any of that,
Yep.
let me know.
Yeah, we can go back in and make it a little smaller.
So are there some
Check the
formatting
color.
that still need to be completed?
Yeah, she has to put the dates of when it was approved, and then there's little tiny appendix, see this, see that, where they have to
Yeah.
just be very
There
minor.
will be some very basic cleanup.
And like this needs to be switched around. So it's
Yes.
just cleaning up. It's just
Get
standardizing.
rid of the draft.
Yeah.
Just standardizing.
So whoever makes a motion should specify that there are formatting issues still that will be changed
Updates and formatting issues.
just a format, not content. Any other discussion about the employee handbook? Okay, so seeing none, we need a motion.
Yeah, I'll move to approve the employee handbook as written with the inclusion of appropriate formatting.
Okay, good.
I'll second that.
Second by Amy. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? I vote aye for the record. Motion passes. You're just doing 100% here.
Good work, team.
They look
Thank
at-
you.
Most of them, the formatting looks really good too, it's just a couple of.
It's getting, yeah.
All right, a little break in policy. This is just more of an update for teacher contract and spending, just again for awareness purposes, so you guys aren't like surprised. I'm a big fan of no surprises. So in your handout, in your current tab is the contract that Colleen and I founders gave to me, and then I made it for ours. So I just want, again, because we have one teacher on the hook, so we need to make sure we're all on the same page and in agreement with this. I can pull it up here on the screen. Just have to go there. I did update this a little bit compared to yours as I was working through this. So basically, it's super simple. We identify, what their contract is, talk about stipend days, and then we offer this. And I will let you know that I did use the faculty starting salary rubric in my conversation with the teacher we'll be bringing on board, and it seemed to have worked pretty good.
Yeah.
So it got us right where we needed to be. So I was like, wow, excellent. So, and then on the back, it just, second page, and then it says, when this document is signed, you are considered under contract for the above mentioned school year. So they return this offer. So,
The only thing I would like to get rid of is the 6 hours, because it's just a daily rate. What if it's 6 hours and 10 minutes? You just don't want,
oh, okay.
you know what I mean? What if the training's fantastic and it goes a little longer and it goes to 7 hours?
Okay,
You just put, that's your daily rate for those extra days.
okay.
Good.
Did I?
This offer is contingent upon, should references be plural?
Where are you reading?
Right below what Amy pointed out.
Wait, where was it? Oh, this offers contingent upon.
Satisfactory responses to your reference
And
or
background check.
references.
Thank you. Good.
So on the PERS section,
Hmm.
because this is new to me, because that's how, first, we didn't have that option before. So what's 50/50? Can you explain that? So it says they're automatically put in 50/50, so they're paying half and we're paying half.
Yeah, no, that's not.
So do they have to pay half, or do they could say, I'm just keeping that and I'm only putting in half, or?
Colleen, are you there? Can you address that more succinctly?
I am. So starting 2 years ago, we are Founders Academy and also Elko, Classical Elko. You guys are called choice agencies. So your employees have a choice if they've never been in PERS before, or if they were with a choice agency before, like Mrs. Mars. Mrs. Mars was 50/50 with us, so she has a choice to be 50/50 with you or 100%. If she chooses, most everybody always starts in at 50/50, and then they have to fill out a form if they want to go to 100%. The 50/50 means the base salaries, you can either be a reduction per employer, but I find that attracting teachers and retaining teachers, if you reduce their salary by the factor, you don't keep them. So the salary that you quote is a base salary. And then you increase the ones by 50/50 employees by a factor, which the new factor is just coming out. You sent me that paperwork the other day, Brandolyn.
Yes, I did.
I'm not sure. So basically you increase their base salary by the factor. And so you, the company, pays 50% of their PERS. And they, the employee, pays 50% of their PERS out of their check. Why is this an advantage? It's an advantage to the employee because they always can get every dime of the money they put in to their PERS out. If you're 100%, the only way you can draw your money out of PERS that the company put in is if you draw a retirement. After 5 years into PERS, you can vest and you can choose to be a 100% or still remain a 50-50 employee. You can only go to 100% employee one time. You can stay at 50-50 forever, but once you choose to go 100%, you can never go back.
Interesting.
It is very confusing. And so
It's very
if you don't understand it, it's very confusing.
Colleen, if I'm a new teacher, approximately how much is that per month? My 50% contribution to PERS.
Well, it all depends on your salary because it's.
Say I'm just base salary, 50,000 or whatever, brand new teacher.
Well, let me see. I can tell you what's the, I don't even, I'm just gonna go on the old PERS because I'm not exactly sure what the, I don't have it committed to memory yet. So 50,000, so 50, 1, 2, 3 times 180,165 equals divided by per month.
Yeah.
So that's would be 8 on a 50% employee. Your 50% would be, I think I did that right, $860. Hold on, let me figure that one more time.
Per month, so 425 out of each paycheck when you're barely getting a paycheck.
Yeah, but when we give you the PERS bump, so the $50,000. All right, so $50,000 a year salary, you take the $50,000 a year salary and you multiply that by the PERS factor of 1 point. The current one, 50,000. And the current rate, current PERS factor for the increase for the PERS bump for the 50-50 is 1.80165. So you multiply that 50,000 times 1.180165. That bumps their salary that up to $59,008 per year.
Got it. So you're bumping it up and then taking it out.
Yeah, you're bumping it up and then you're taking half.
So they don't miss it. Okay.
No, on the check, the salaries are exactly the same. That's not true. I'm lying to you guys. The 50-50, their percentage is usually 0.5% higher. Like right now, it's 17.5%. But if you do it, the 100%ers, it's 33.5%. So it's like $30 difference on their check between the two.
Okay. Huge incentive when you're not vested, just in case you want to fill out.
Yeah, you can take your money, so as from an employer side, so any of you that have worked for a district and you're 100% PERS, you're stuck. You don't get your money, you're stuck. You're going 10 years minimum or you're not going anywhere. When you're a 50-50 employee, you can take your money and run at any given time.
Got it. Transfer states or whatever else.
Okay, that's
Yeah, and so 2 years ago, they used to give you a choice when you came in, but at 2 years ago, when they did the biennium, they're like, well, we're just gonna enroll automatically everybody in the 50-50. And if they want to go 100%, then they can fill the form out on when you hire them. But I usually tell everybody, this is how it is. And I've only had one person pick the 100%. And I'm like, are you sure?
You're right. Okay, that's interesting.
Does it make sense? Does it make sense? I know it's confusing and I talk 100 miles.
Makes sense. Makes good sense.
Okay.
Thank you, Colleen.
So in your budget, that's why when we do the budget, Brenda, I already factored this into your budget.
Nice.
All the salary bumps are already budgeted for automatically everybody doing 50-50.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So if it comes in less, it's gonna be a little less, but it's already in your number that I gave you.
Yep.
Okay?
Very good.
Perfect, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Okay, other recommendations or questions on this contract?
I just have a question for personal clarity. Under paid leave, are the 2 days and the 5 days only eligible for use after the 45 calendar days, or is it just the 5 sick days?
In the employee handbook, it states, like you can't take the personal leave days within 10 days before and at the first 10 or last 10 of school.
There's this calendar issue.
And then, 5 paid days only after 45 calendar days.
Can I
So
raise
I
my
guess-
hand?
But that,
The reason why we did this is from experience. We've had not once, but twice. A new employee come in, use up all their leave and quit.
Yep.
This has happened not once, twice. So we say you can't use any paid leave until 45 calendar days.
So that applies to both.
okay, so
Two and the five.
two paid
Reads
You need the word which right there? Can't we just say 2 paid personal leave days and 5 paid leave days can be used only after 45 calendar days?
And how picky is it to ask? I have the experience of teachers that take their personal leave days before a holiday. Like, so they'll get 5 days off instead of.
But-
I mean, I don't know how much you can do about that, but I know it was abused multiple times in the district.
I'm gonna put period leave.
You know, to me, it's more contingent on any good sub. You want personal days, and we can't get
All
a
paid
sub.
leave.
I looked at it and I thought, well, if I was in the system, I would probably know the answer to this, but I don't know, looking at it, if you mean all of that, or just the sick leave. And then on the next page, that first paragraph.
Can we stay in that one?
Sorry,
So the way that reads, so I'm employed and I'm there a month and I get pneumonia. And I have to stay home, COVID or whatever. Then those days are not
I
paid.
think I think that becomes a administrator.
Yeah.
Exception to the rule, because we know you're really, really sick and you're not trying to take advantage of our system and you're gonna call me and I'm gonna say, oh yeah, Joe, you're really sick. And I think this is just like generally speaking. But it could be a
set this town right there.
Yeah, right, yeah.
like, yeah, but there's always gonna be the exception, like the unexpected death or the unexpected, like if somebody, their mom dies the second day of school, we're not gonna be like, well, you can't take any time off,
That's
right?
right.
We're gonna be like, okay, this is an exception.
And I think this is, like Las Vegas, you know what happens there, where they've got 400 people coming and going every other day. Here, around here, you're not gonna have as much abuse, but it's still an important.
Yeah, that's a good view, but that's a fair,
You gotta use discretion.
And Colleen, I don't know if you guys have this, but so are personal leave days contingent on having access to a substitute? I
Okay,
mean,
so we make the teacher find their sub. However, sometimes our sub pool they're all on long-term, they're not available. So most, I want to say most of the teachers, if you're firm with them and you don't give in, they'll find a substitute. But in the rare occasion that they don't, we go find teachers with open preps to go sell the preps. I don't know if you're gonna have enough teachers to do that in your first couple of years, but we always make the teachers find their own substitutes. And normally they'll be like, man, I just can't find a substitute, well, but if you let it get away with it, then they'll get lazy and they won't do it. But if you're like, you really need to find a sub. But I don't know what your sub pool is like. I don't know what you guys are gonna use for subs.
We'll find it.
To be determined,
Yeah, usually there's a core group you can.
Or
get.
Brandon, you'll be in there.
yeah. We were just talking about that today, like, I can't wait till I get to teach second grade.
Yeah, so you guys, so Bridget always has like a robust sub pool. And then she has what we do is we make a preferred sub list.
Yep.
And then we
Yep,
make
yep,
sure
yep.
the teachers and the new hire training, because a lot of teachers will leave it on the S drive. Well, you're not sick when you don't have the S drive at home when you're sick. Print that bad boy out and put it in your purse or something.
right. Right.
Perfect, with all the preferred subs on it. So, and then they call them and then, so when they fill out the 101 form, or when they put the request in through Paylocity, who's your sub? You know,
Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna be out, my sub is Mary Jane.
What typically happens too is teachers get their favorite stuff because they learn their kids, they learn their curriculum, and then that's who they just,
Right.
Exactly.
it gets pretty smooth.
Yeah, so it's really nice though to have like a nice robust sub pool.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you. And then
Uh-huh.
Lisa, you had something else?
Yes, on that top paragraph on the site, on the back page, that should just be one sentence.
Oh, here,
Oh,
which,
yeah, which means. Or you could put this means that you
Yeah, or, yeah, you could
change
change
which to this.
Take the period
That's
out.
fine.
Yeah.
do this.
either way.
This means that you and the employer should be trying to make it.
I think it can be which, if you're gonna use the comma, or if it's
Yeah,
gonna be
you can
two
use with.
sentences, you do the this.
Yeah. Catch.
And has legal reviewed this? Does legal need to review this? The answer to that.
We'll have, yeah, I sent it over to them.
So forgive me if I'm just not reading this right, but the comma should be inside the quotes, right?
Thank you.
That will comma.
Yep.
Which means.
Oops.
Come on.
Now we've got so many commas and no spaces. All right, there, I think we got it. Okay,
So this still has to go through Katie?
yeah, we'll have her confirm it.
Okay, so this was just for.
Yeah, this is so we,
Today.
yeah, so we know, and then I can move forward.
Yep.
Okay, and then tied to this, and again, this is just for money awareness, so transparency. I created this year one stipend plan. Actually, this should be like year leading year zero, really. I probably have a better title for it.
End of year zero.
0 to 1 stipend plan. But I just want you guys, and this is why we talked about the fundraising and the importance of it, and because this is what this has looked like. And remember at a previous board meeting, we talked about the critical importance of training our teachers well and investing into our teachers. And so I wanted you guys just to see this, so you are not like, what? You're like, oh yeah, she told us about this. So there's 12 training days plus 2 travel days scheduled into our schedule for literacy and math training. And that's what I've listed out here. Some will be happening, the Jumpstart trainings will be happening here at Elko. The intensive trainings will be happening down at Founders. So these days are shorter days at Elko purposely. So this is the stipend rate. I'm inviting 9 of the teachers, and that would be the classroom teachers, SPED, counselor, and the aides. And so this is the cost. And then the second piece of this is the travel day. So these are much longer. These are longer days, more intense training. Only 6 of our staff will travel down. I've looked at the per diem rate, what it's going to cost us travel wise. So I just was giving, this is to help you guys understand why I was asking for that additional fundraising. So about $24,000-ish. Hopefully these are high estimates because we'll share rooms and stuff. This is assuming everybody has their own hotel room and everything. And then this is the training costs, the quotes that I've gotten from the trainers and the teaming up with Founders. So again, I'm close to $22,000 worth of training costs. So we also, what I wrote on your paper in handwriting is the vehicles. This does not include travel getting these people here, but I have some ideas of pulling in favors from Nevada Outdoor School or EIAA to use a vehicle and travel to save costs. But long story short, to tell you, just again, this is an awareness. So training our teachers for the first year will be about that $50,000 with travel and trainers. So again, I just wanted you to understand why we were asking for that additional fundraising, and that's a big ask, but if we don't have well-trained teachers, we're not going to be a very amazing school. So any questions on that, or just again for your awareness?
I actually just have a logistic question on the literacy intensive and math intensive. Are we paying Founders? Yeah, are they
No.
covering the whole cost or we're paying
We're paying per teacher.
per teacher to be part of that?
Yeah, so we take so Bridget and I take the quote and then we divide it by the number of teachers attending. And they pay their share and we pay our share.
Great.
Yep. We share out.
Good deal.
To the people who are actually providing training.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if Ron or somebody has a good deal with hotels or motel
Yeah, we'll
discounts.
figure, or Airbnb, we'll figure that out.
Something like, you know what I mean? I bet you
We'll-
can get a midweek discount with connections.
We'll try to minimize that, but that's like high end. So that, and again, that's just for your awareness, so there's no surprises. Because I had told you guys training was gonna be expensive, and now you understand how expensive. Okay, that concludes D.
Hey, item number 9, new business, review and approve the 2025-2026 NCAE Hospitality Management Nevada CAM. Nevada contract, but we don't have one of those, right?
We got it at the 11th hour, so I can show it to you. And if you have any questions, that's why Colleen is here. This is Katie saying she has no problems with this contract. It's pretty much the same contract we've already signed twice. Oops. So I don't know if there's really any, here.
Is this just a full year one or what's that?
So this is, yes, now, so this starts July 1 through June of next year.
January 1 through July. Wait,
Oh, I think this is just when they
oh, we'll
started,
have to.
we started talking about it, that we were going to do this. But it's
Beginning
here,
July,
it
it's
says
for
here.
the fiscal year. It's
Yeah,
for
July
Year
here.
one, basically.
Yeah, so this is, remember, it's kind of like you guys had to do with me, right? We had to kind of step through all these contracts until we get into so this is from starting July 1 through June 30, the same services they've been providing, just for the extended first year.
So Colleen, I have a question for you on this.
Okay, I'm here.
Did you listen to SB 318 hearing today?
I did not, but I did complete that spreadsheet and it was brutal. I didn't listen to it, no.
This is a nonprofit corporation.
And
And
you,
they're not
that was my
hiring.
question, so you're a nonprofit and,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously.
Yeah,
you're not.
we are, CAM is a not-for-profit.
Yeah, and they're not,
That's not who they're targeting.
Yeah.
and they're not considered a CMO or EMO for us.
Right. I knew you weren't the EMO, but and it seems like we heard that before, that you were nonprofits.
Yeah, yes, we are a not-for-profit.
Yeah.
Good, okay, that
Make
helps.
sure
I
that.
feel better.
Otherwise, we'd be voting this, well, who knows, but.
I don't. I
So
didn't-
did it pass? Did the SB 318 pass?
I don't
It's
think,
saying it was in comment period, so.
It
I
didn't.
guess-
Yeah, it's just in committee.
Okay,
It didn't sound like there was as much support for it even within committee as there
okay,
was.
yeah, cause it was like, oh my gosh, it'll kill if they get that on, it'll kill the charter schools. There's no way.
It's very discriminatory as well.
Well, and I think to be fair, the person who sponsored the bill was obviously targeting the EMOs, not specifically targeting the charters, and he had already said that they were having discussions about changing the definition of what a contractor or a
Oh, thank goodness, 'cause
contract with somebody.
I was like, holy cow, this is gonna be brutal.
Yeah,
Well, even some of our testing map and some of those may not be all nonprofit, you know.
All right, sorry about that. I didn't want to run you off topic.
okay, so yeah, back to,
Okay,
yes.
so
Back to work.
let's go back to this then. I just wanted to double check that to make sure.
The language changes, just it changes more.
So all we're doing is taking the same contract we had and now it is for a year, so our amount that we are paying them is in there somewhere.
Yeah.
yep, it's right here, same 47.49 per month. So remember in the SPCA, there's the academic, financial and organizational framework. So this is covering financial and organizational.
And that amount is the same amount that we're paying in under current agreement.
Yes, or very close. It's not significantly more, if it's a little bit more. And I think it's the same. Do you know, Colleen, is it exact? I think it's exact.
I think it's actually a little less.
Yeah, I think, because we were 49, 48, I think, something. last
Yeah, I
time.
think it's a little bit less.
The cost of less than having
Yeah.
one employee.
They, trust me, guys,
It's money.
they're worth it, so,
That was my question, is it,
100%.
is it going so far?
Fantastic. Colleen, Cam, Nevada, and NCAE have a beautiful relationship. And it's working very well.
Yes, we do. She's a very, we got it down.
Ah, I love it.
Good. All right, any questions or anything we need to look at specifically on there?
Move to approve.
Just have to approve it.
Yep. And then I'll print it and you can sign it.
Good, do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Have a second?
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Fernando was an aye. Okay, I
Yes,
voted
sir.
I voted for the record, motion carries. Thank you, Colleen.
Thank you, Colleen.
Thank you very much.
Okay, if you want to keep going, we have 45 minutes till 6 o'clock.
My little gal should be
Yes.
calling up
There you go.
anytime, so then we'll take a 10-minute break. But just-
Okay,
That's-
now that we do the break down. Okay, these, most of these are.
These should be
Yeah.
faster.
Yeah, so
Yes.
B, review and approve the NCAE McKinney-Vento policy. And this is pretty much language that we have to use, correct?
Yeah.
So McKinney-Vento is all about supporting homeless students. So this is saying that we will support homeless students and we will follow the procedure in place, which is laid out for us in this document.
Looks great.
Yeah.
And it looks beautiful because we made it look. And again, we left the charter school because it's really their document that we've just put our name on, but it's boilerplate.
All cleaned up. Yeah.
And at one point in our charter application, we had discussions about that these get weighted enrollment, but they do not. Is that correct?
No.
The only weighted enrollment are EL.
Just EL.
Okay. And this doesn't, I read through it and I pretty sure it doesn't say it in there anywhere that they get any type of preference to be enrolled.
No, it's just that they will be enrolled. We would enroll them. They can come to
You
our
won't
school.
say because you're homeless, you can't. If you
No.
sign up in time, you're in.
Yeah.
Now, are they subject to the lottery?
Not weighted.
No, not weighted, like they're not a part of the weighted lottery.
They're part of the regular lottery.
Okay, so they're still subject to the lottery. They're not given an automatic entrance.
And they're not weighted if we
And
do
they're not
enroll.
weighted. Got it.
Okay. Everybody have a chance to look at that, and again, this one is directly from state. So any discussion, other discussion? Okay, take a motion,
Move to approve.
anxious on a roll.
Trying to
Keep
get
going,
through
hey.
it.
I'll second. I like that.
Okay, please hold on for a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Fernando, do you have a vote?
Yeah, I approve.
Aye, I vote aye for the record, motion carries. Item C, review and approve the NCAE foster care policy.
So same story, boilerplate from the state. This is just tells us how the process of which, if we have a foster child, the things that we will do to support that foster child.
Any discussion on that?
So I did have a question on that one, and I don't know, maybe the same language was in the one we just approved and I didn't see it. But it mentions regarding transportation, it speaks of MOU and interlocal agreements in the present as though those are already signed. Do we have those signed? And if not, I have a concern about approving a document that references other documents that don't exist.
So let's see where this is coming out of. This may be state language that we.
Section 7.
Yeah.
Let's scroll down.
Yeah, I'm just making sure I know where. So this here definitions, is this the part?
No, section 7 on transportation. Where-
Click on the next reference in here, yeah.
No, there you go.
So interagency agreements with the local family services in the state of Nevada.
You can get rid of the word current. And just put MOUs, which would be created in the event.
And if we're in that situation, then we have to get those.
We have to.
That's right.
Yeah, we don't have a choice.
I'd be good
If
striking
you give
current.
it current, then we just do it, because they're all individualized, it depends, some of them, you know, you're gonna deal with it right there with social services.
Keep
And
talking. I
that,
just have to
that
say this.
implies that we'll create one when we're in that situation.
Yeah.
If we end up,
Yeah,
typically, they stay in their own school.
yeah, exactly.
And it doesn't state that we're providing transportation. It states that the foster organization or whoever.
Well, it depends, like, that's part of the conversation you have with social services, is do you have any way to do it, how can we help?
So we just have to figure it out in that situation.
Sometimes you can get, maybe a teacher lives nearby and they work out a contract and some liability clause and they pick them up, you know, different, you can do different things.
Okay, good.
Okay, let me see if she's out.
Okay, got it. Good catch. Thanks. Anything else for this one?
Any other discussion or questions?
Good.
Do we have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
Lisa, second. Motion by Hague, second by Lisa. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I,
The vote after the record, motion carries.
Can I ask a question?
Oh,
In these for points of contact, you had you and Amber? Or
You took
taking
Amber out.
yeah, on the liaisons for both, can we take a 10-minute?
Yep.
10,
Okay, we're gonna stop.
I'm gonna run out.
recording.
Pausing the recording.
7 minutes. Leave it said.
Okay, we are officially recording and back in session. And we are on item D, review and approve the NCAA special students policy.
So the background on this is a unique condition. So in Epicenter, which is the system of which we communicate these documents with SBCSA, they assign us unique conditions. And one of those unique conditions was to create, how are we going to support and identify special students? And as special students is gifted and talented, special education, English language learners, it's all of those categories. So we put together this document based on the MTSS multi-tiered support system that's well-known and very effective for our school in CAE. And so in this unique condition task, it asked us, what's our professional development plan? What strategies would we use? And so we created this. And it's like I said, it's based and rooted in this MTSS framework. And we talk about special students. Like I said, I created this box to address one of the concerns of the board members. So special students refers to above, below, behavioral issues, other identified categories, special education, like special students is everybody except if you're normal.
And one of the questions I had is, does the MTSS procedure apply for gifted students? Does it, that it works both?
That's,
Technically, every single person falls into this.
yes.
Because every student is measured, right? Every student, and then you're going to be, everybody's in tier 1. Everybody gets universal screening, everybody gets universal instruction, universal behavior incentives and parties and everything that happens in a normal school. And then if kids start to struggle one way or the other, or need more, or even the gifted piece, then there's this tier 2. So every single kid is addressed, yeah.
Got it.
It's special.
So, yeah, and again, this is specific for our school. It addresses the task that we were asked to address because these are the things we will do in our school for special students. And for every other student, like Amy's saying. The truth is it's for all kids, but we've called out the special students that need to be called out.
And this one, we had to kind of create, so there will be a harder look for formatting, because those boilerplate ones were easy, right? And this, you guys will want to do one less, where the bullets are and where all the, it looks really good, but probably once, there might be one more glance, so put in a motion formatting.
Well, and I questioned it as a policy because it's not, it's a procedure manual. It's not really a policy. We have a special education policy that's coming up. But Brandon explained, you kind of explained that, but the SPCSA requires,
They require this, so.
because I thought, well, why are we voting on this? Because it's just procedures that the school's gonna use to meet the policies for special education.
This is what we've been getting targeted on. Remember when we did our application, this was the area that
Yes.
came up? And then in all of our questions, when they did the capacity review, how are you responding to these special students? It just feels like this has been something they want.
So my question is, again, on our agenda, we call it policy. Here it's identifying and supporting special students.
It's not a policy.
So it's not is it a policy? Is it not a policy? Is it a procedure manual? We know it's a requirement, but do we call it a policy or do we not call it a policy?
Can we just call it a
It's
document?
it's a procedure. So how do we support these special students? So how do we identify them?
Should we put manual or something, just so it's like, because it really doesn't have that identifying and supporting special students. Document, manual, handbook, I mean, what, should we call it something?
I don't know.
What does SPCSA ask?
They don't, they just say to create something that tells us that you will identify and support special students.
Yeah, this would not go in policy manual.
No, but what, we need to maybe give it a
Well,
description.
if it doesn't go in the policy manual, then we as a board don't have to vote on it.
That's.
Yes, we do,
we
because
do
this was
it has to
the,
go-
We want to show that like you guys are on, like that I didn't just create this. I think it's good and we can just say the board approved it. So what we just.
I-
we want to call it manual.
Manual, let's just call
I
it.
think the same thought as Hank, because I called Brandon today, I said, we don't need to vote on that because it's not policy. And she said, well, no, actually,
The SPCA, I think it's not because it's policy, it's because SPCA has asked us for it and we want them to know that you guys have seen it.
It's a requirement somewhere in this next thing.
The unique
so
condition.
could we call it the special students procedure manual?
Why don't we call it manual?
Just manual.
Just manual?
Okay, I'll change
It's
that.
it's a little more than a procedure. Manual's a little more
It's a,
all encompassing.
it's a framework, it's a whole system.
Yeah.
A framework.
Framework works.
Framework sounds kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then there's flexibility in a framework too.
And this is all about flexibility.
Really is.
We talk over and over, it's flexible.
Yeah, I mean, it's very structured and defined the things that you do to identify and support these kids.
Right.
It's,
And Hank had a question about how do you know where they move? That's kind of, it's so fluid. Cause I may need tier 2 support for speech, but I don't need it for math, and you may need it for behaving out at recess, but you're fine academically.
Yeah, my concern is it's too fluid though, like, is it gonna be applied, let's say, equally, or does it matter?
A team meets and it's a pretty cool system. It's a neat framework, really.
it's typical what's used. I mean, all schools use that
Yeah.
system.
It's very, it's very well known. Okay, so we're
And
good.
the state of Nevada adopted it, so it's.
I like framework. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like framework too. Yeah.
So any other discussion on that framework?
Good, we changed it.
That non-policy? Okay,
It just looks like it needs a little more formatting.
Yes, yeah, whoever makes that motion. Definitely needs a little bit of.
Amy, can you make that one?
Sure, so I'll move that we approve the identifying and supporting special students framework with room for formatting changes.
A second.
Okay, Kim seconds. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I vote aye for the record, it passes. Review and approve the NCAA Parent-Student Handbook.
So can I just make maybe a quick suggestion? Can we just do the special education policy one first, and then we'll do the handbook? Then if we don't get that one, we've got the other one approved. Does that make sense? Is that okay? Because this one is completely state driven. So this is kind of like McKinney-Vento.
The other one's messy.
The only thing we put in was our name and the specific information that they wanted us to put in. So this one is really done.
Okay, so for the record, we're reviewing and approving the NCAE Special Education Policy.
Mhm.
And it is
It's a doozy.
completely from the state. So
Yeah.
anybody have any comments or discussion about that?
I think that's the one I probably had the most on.
Yeah. Pretty heartburn.
And there's some things in there that I think are important because there are changes to idea that are not acknowledged in that document that probably should be. I don't necessarily know that that's relevant. It has to do with, I think, like electronic notification of IEPs and stuff in 2017. But it just seems like it's dated because we say, you know, idea revisions in 04, 06, and 08, but then we just don't mention anything that's happened in the last 15 years.
It's been around for a while.
Yeah.
Is it boilerplate, all of that, the 08 and all that?
Yeah,
Yep.
it's exact.
That was interesting too.
Yeah, so I don't know, like, the law has literally changed since 2008. We're approving this document in 25. We should probably acknowledge the changes in 15 and 17.
Go to that, well, it's right there toward the beginning, and maybe we just get rid of the dates. and just-
Yeah, or just, yeah.
Right there, yeah, letter C.
See,
Congress made changes.
we could say Congress has made changes. Has made changes.
And then this manual incorporates those changes. Over the years, Congress has made many changes to IDEA and this.
And that way we don't have to update it every time they change it again.
Right, yeah. And now you have the potential of the Federal Department of Education. I don't know,
Yeah, who knows where that's going.
being changed.
Like this.
over the
Consistently, we
years.
can say
What,
And then I would just put
revises.
this manual incorporates these changes. Get rid of that whole
then why
section.
do we even need to have that?
Got that whole-
Policy.
Well, because it's boilerplate-ish.
Still, that has nothing to do with the policy when changes were made. It's here's what we do, this policy.
I mean, we can just say it's compliant with idea. It's probably-
Get rid of everything
Yeah.
after years and before this manual. Just all the dates, yeah. And put period after years. Oh, yeah.
That's,
Put an and.
now when you look at it, then I really want to just say, move the whole bullet, but
Yeah, they're in there for a reason, though. But that is a good point, because it changes a lot.
And yeah, it kind of future proofs it too.
good catch. And you have more?
Yeah, I had a question if we want to address the supported decision-making agreement or whatever NRS statute I cited in there. And I'm not gonna pretend that I fully understand that, but it seems to be a way that when these sped students reach age of majority, that yes, they get those rights, but through this SDMA, there's access for a parent or guardian to still maintain some influence or guidance or whatever over them. And I don't know, from what I was researching and what I was reading, it seems like this is something that's pretty commonly used for that, and particularly like IEP students who are transitioning to adulthood, especially in like VOAG or technical stuff, may not be applicable here, but in general. So I don't know if we want to address that.
One thing I think of is maybe we don't even have secondary kids yet, so.
Yeah,
But there is.
but we do talk about when they turn 18, they're reaching age of majority and they're getting these rights. So it is addressed in this document as it stands.
Yeah, I mean, we can either remove it or leave it, and then at the point we get to revise by that time, this policy.
Yeah, let's not touch it. It is, we gotta keep it in there because it is a boilerplate thing, but yeah. I bet it'll change radically between.
You know, a lot of areas, so anything to do with secondary, we've just removed.
True.
Yeah. And there are places where we've removed it and we just say, we're not at this point yet. So we acknowledge it, we just, so maybe we should do that here.
So that was in section 2.1.2. Let's look at it.
Yes, ma'am.
2.1.2. Right there, transfer parental rights to the student.
Do you think
Too
the
general.
SPSA will have a problem with us removing that, Evelyn?
I don't think we need to.
We just say
The,
this does not,
I think this is so generically written that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they'll, or if they're gonna go check and make sure.
Why would we remove it and take a chance of having somebody go, why did you remove this versus just boilerplate and,
And it doesn't apply to us for years.
yeah.
but I bet half of it doesn't apply to us, but we should keep it in there. It's 110 pages. We have to go back later and add it back in.
Well, the thing is that we have to remember, go back in and add it in later.
Yeah.
Well, there'll be a lot of those once we get to high school. Okay, so
Yeah,
we leave that for now.
probably.
I'd be in favor of removing it, acknowledge and remove like we have in other places.
We'd have to go through, there's about a lot more than on transition in here.
That's true, there is.
Yeah, this is
Probably half this document's
You have to go through
That's
and
true.
decide what do we take out. I think we just leave it and we just recognize that, I mean, this is a non-issue for us right now anyway, so.
Very good.
I agree. I think it's really bad.
Okay, other,
The last bullet point I had is section 2.4 student records. So there are state requirements about how long this stuff has to be maintained,
yeah,
but then there's not specifically to SPED records. From what I understand, so I don't know if that probably should be recognized in this.
It says 3 years for all records, but it doesn't say how long for special ed records.
Right.
I think you keep those forever, don't you? I know that
I don't
sounds
think
crazy,
we
but
remove-
So like from what I understand, the student's educational
Can you zoom
records,
it up a little bit?
their attendance, their grades, that must be retained for 3 years by the state. But that does not include special education records.
right.
And IDEA does not offer any guidance on that from what I could find.
There are certain things we keep forever, even in their cumulative folder. You always have their transcripts and all of that, always. Like we had people after that downwinders when they, remember when they had the cancer claims from the testing?
Oh, yeah.
If you were like, went to school between 1950 and 1963, like people were coming in and getting that because they could, if they got cancer, they could get money. So I know we had all of that when I was at the high school. And we always keep special ed records because people come back for disability.
Probably put that in there.
So maybe it's in there somewhere. How long?
According to chapter 10, student records and confidentiality,
See if it says
for
something.
more detailed description matters relating to student. Is that in this document or in a different document?
Maybe I missed it.
Maintenance of records 10.2.
Is that where it says it? Okay, let's see. Keep going down, maybe. That's something.
This is access.
Access to records.
So you're looking for a time, is that Hank, am I
Like
understanding?
10 years or-
Yeah, how long are you maintaining sped records for?
And maybe it's in another document, how long you keep records.
It's in our
It's in the-
financial one, we just wrote 10 years or something, we wrote 10 years.
Yep, I think it is in the financial document.
Should be in here too.
I know.
Which one is it, 10 years?
Well, no, keep going. It's gotta be in here, because this is a boilerplate from the,
Well,
Yeah, this one, you got it.
for all these years.
Well, you keep adding more file cabinets because you're keeping your records over and over and over again. And I mean, school district office.
I don't remember reading anything about
Rooms
it
full of
this time.
stuff.
No, instruction of records right there, scroll down. I know you have to keep some of them.
I think this just says that you will destroy them where they are, you can't,
It means parent, it says.
without a dictionary.
How
without
many
a
years after you graduate?
Permanent record. 6 calendar years after graduation, or would normally have graduated, so there's.
So that's the boilerplate, 6 years, but you have to keep really basic.
After graduation, so that's not after they leave our school, it's after,
Or would have normally graduated.
yeah. So
So-
it's not like when they, 6 years from when they leave 3rd grade,
Yeah, so if they leave our school at 3rd grade, we've got to
We
keep
still
those
keep them
for
till
another 15
15
years.
years, yeah.
Okay.
or no,
And
yeah.
it applies to all the records, so it's not specific to special ed or IEPs.
But it
That's
includes
part
those.
of it, yeah, that's part of the record.
Okay,
Man, something.
okay, I'm good with that.
Good, all right. Good,
Okay, any other questions or discussion?
oops,
No,
On that?
so,
we're good, really good.
Okay, so do we have a motion?
Yeah, I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, this is second. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor, say aye. Opposed? I vote aye for the record, motion passes. We'll go back to E, or do you want to go to G, Branson?
No, let's do parent handbook, because it's school improvement plan, we ran out of time, we can talk about that next, it's not due till June.
So we'll go to E.
Yeah, E, yes,
Okay,
please.
review and approve the NCAA parent-student handbook. And this one came out a little bit, just a few days
Yes,
ago.
I
so-
apologize.
Yeah, I'm gonna move to table that because I know I haven't had time to go through it in detail. I'm not sure if anybody else has.
When is it due?
It's due, they're all due. But we have plenty of, I mean, it's just their arbitrary due dates, so,
Oh, they are.
well,
'Cause I saw March 1st is when the state wanted them all, right?
March 15th, yeah.
Oh, March 15th.
You know, we show evidence that we're working on it, and the board's working towards it, they're not gonna.
Oh, yeah, no, we're not in trouble or anything with it. It's more, it's Brandolin, like, let's move, like, let's get off some of these things. I have other things to talk about. But this is super important because this is a interface
Yeah.
to the school and to our family. So this one, if we spend any time, this is the one we should spend a lot of time on, because you guys also are going to have to defend this when the parent comes to you and says, rah, 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 you're gonna have to be like, handbook, we're gonna go back to this is what we follow.
Can we do at least this tonight? Determine which, outfits, what are they called?
Oh, dress code, yes,
Because there's 2 options in there.
let's do
If we
that
can at least
tonight.
Through it.
If we can decide on which one we like, then we can get 3 or 4 pages.
I say no.
So maybe
So
go
we
through
can't decide tonight or no to this?
just that,
No,
that little section.
This can, I mean, that we can get mired down in.
We have to choose option 1 or option 2 and get rid of one of them. And if we get rid of it, then we can format. If we can do this part tonight, there's still 40 pages.
And the thing to remember about the dress code, it's for just this year. It's not for the rest of our lives. It's not forever and ever and ever. We need to make a decision because again, there's a lot of back things that have to happen that I need to start working on. And if we keep waiting, it's just making me nuts. So we need to just come to a conclusion on dress code. And we can always change it next year. We can always back out mid-year and say, hey, we're gonna do it different next year, alert our parents, do a whole campaign on dress code.
So I have
Right.
A lot more than 10 minutes worth of discussion
On the dress code, on the 2
on
choices.
this whole thing.
Yeah, I'll restate my motion to table.
We have a second, we have a motion
We have a
Second.
clean up that little section? No.
Then can we have can we call a meeting to work on this?
Yeah.
Before April 19th, because I can't wait a month to get this done.
Yes, agreed.
We have a motion. I'm asking if there's a second to table.
Can I ask what is the motion, Mike?
Say that again?
The motion.
The motions that we table this for later discussion, motion's been seconded. A motion to table has to immediately go to a vote after a second.
Does that mean
Okay.
we can't discuss the two?
It has to go to a vote before we can discuss anything.
Yes, sir.
If we have, did he second?
Kim seconded it?
Kim seconded it?
But we can still ask questions
We
after
have
a
a
motion.
motion.
and a second.
We have a.
No, a motion to table immediately goes to a vote after a second. A motion to table cannot be
That's
discussed.
different than.
Yep, we have a motion and a second to table it. All those in favor of tabling the motion signify by saying aye.
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 I vote aye. For the record, opposed. So we have 4 in favor and 2 opposed. The motion to table passes. Okay, now, Brandlin
Now, can I ask a question?
Brandlin requested, then when do we do it, right? So
Yes.
what's your recommendation? Because we haven't had time. And just when I started looking at it, the way it begins, the whole policy, all of that stuff there's nothing that starts off saying, here's the policy. It's just.
So this is the okay.
It's policy.
So we're still on this item? Are we on this item for
We're
discussion?
looking at a new item of when will we discuss this?
Next
Tabling-
Wednesday,
We're tabling approval of this stuff. That's been tabled.
Correct.
So now is Brandon was requesting maybe another meeting to discuss this, or maybe because I have questions, if we have any type of parent involvement in this, and what's been, all of those things. What, do we have input from other people?
Are we going back to 2 meetings a month? Because if so, our next meeting would be the 2nd, right?
yeah, I won't be here that week. It's spring break. I already had a backtracking.
It is spring break.
So can we meet the 26th, next Wednesday at 3 o'clock? Or anytime that
Time to agendize it, get it.
we can do it tomorrow?
I can't, I have budget meetings and planning, but I can do it over the phone.
I'll be in Vegas. I'll be driving to Vegas then, so I can't, but I can get my comments in before then.
How about the 9th? No, this is important that this is one we have to get right. And we all need to be like, we're good. So this is gonna be, we're gonna get to battle some things out. So the 9th
Of April.
is better than the 17th, because this is, and then if this is all we do, like, this is gonna be all we do that meeting.
Yeah.
So we're not tired and rummy.
We don't have a governing board meeting on April 2nd.
No, but then we do on the 16th, the following week. Or can we just
Could we
move that to
do-
the 9th, our regular meeting to the 9th?
Wait, can we do a work group and just some of us work on it and then we just bring it to the board? Do we have to do it as a board meeting? I'm curious.
Final approval has to be.
Final approval has to be. But do we all need to have all the conversation? I don't know, I'm just throwing this off.
I would prefer a work group that involves parents and other
We don't have
stakeholders
parents yet.
in the creation of it.
It's due last week, it's due this week, we're already late is the challenge. I mean, it's not written in
It's in
stone.
progress, but
It's not written in stone. It can change every year. It can change every month. But we have to submit something to the state.
This one has to be.
And we do have parents because I have Lisa.
I'm a parent.
It has to be perfect or you're gonna be dealing with the consequences.
It does have to be perfect for when we give it out to the students. What we give to the state, we can then say updated
Right.
Yeah.
6
We gotta
weeks from
submit
now. I
something.
mean, this is gonna be changing I mean, my personal opinion, this document will be changing until we hand this out to the students on day 1, is when this goes home for the students to sign and bring back. So we can make changes up till August 24th. Because we're gonna realize like, oh, we should do this. Oh, we need to do this. Oh, the staffing has changed. Oh, the schedule has changed. Oh, right? So, but what we need to do is have it like 90% there, right? So we don't want to turn in something now and then totally different to the state.
And to that point, we can stakeholder this a lot more when we have a draft, and we can approve a draft to the state and stakeholder some more and make some edits. But that can't be done without finalizing the dress code.
Okay, so-
And Brandolyn really needs some time to be able to start sourcing
Or ordering, or
Yeah.
figuring out.
the uniform.
And we can't include parents until we know who our parents are. And we can't include parents until enrollment's complete, because enrollment, like, if they're not enrolled until May or June, so we can't have a whole parent thing yet. I mean, this is the challenge of a startup school, right?
Yeah.
We want to do these things, but you can't do them because we don't have the people, we don't have the staff, we don't have, even talking to Megan at the interview, she had some brilliant ideas. She's worked at a classical school for 4 years, right? I'm like, oh, we should incorporate these things. But we won't know that until we start talking with our teachers. So this is gonna change.
Okay, so your options are, whether you want to get input or not before the next meeting. And if you want to call a separate meeting just to cover this, or if you're going to do it during the next scheduled meeting. So which are you going to do? Because it's tabled right now. So those are your options.
So do we want to separate dress code from handbook and just have a meeting to talk specifically dress code? And make that decision?
Can we have a working group address dress code and make that decision?
Yes, I think so. I don't think that has to go to the full board, does it? Or does it?
Well,
Final
here's
approval maybe, but
the thing. So if there is a working group that decides on the dress code, the board, and then we come to the board and the board's like, nope, I don't like that dress code. Now what? Now I'm back to square one. So I think the dress code needs to be a board thing.
Oh, Fernando, you agree?
Fernando, did you have?
When is it due?
2 days and 4 days ago?
It was due March 15th officially, so a few
Okay.
days ago.
So it's stable right now. So the only thing that we can do is we can either, like Joe de Braga say, either we change it, or we just need to decide when is it going to be done.
So next week, 27th or 28th, Hank, were you headed to Las Vegas or coming back from Las Vegas on the 26th?
headed to Vegas.
Oh, okay. April 4th, Friday, April 4th. Late in the afternoon,
Headed to Carson City.
okay.
Yeah, that's a no for me.
April 7th, Monday,
I'm good with that.
So we're not meeting April 2nd.
No.
There is no board meeting scheduled that day.
I have it on my calendar for some reason.
I think that's when we were doing twice, but we decided in March we went to one.
Quick comment about I mean, if we wanted to be beautiful and clean and quick, not quick, but there are basically two options for dress code. 80% of it is exactly the same. Like all of the wording is identical. It's literally picking this style or this style, and then she can get moving on some things. That's why I said it's 2-3 pages of looking at this pair of pants, this pair of slacks, this shirt, this shirt.
Well, if we
It's
think,
super quick, that part.
if we think it's gonna be contentious, which I don't know why dress code would be contentious.
I don't think so.
I don't know, maybe because I'm just a guy and I grabbed something out of my closet.
No, I don't think so.
But if you think it's gonna be contentious, let's agendize it at the next meeting as 2 different items. So
No, I just thought it would be quick to do now, because then we can wipe out, right now,
Can't
it's.
do it now.
we can't do it now because it's not
We can't
agendized.
just pull that out. We can't make a motion to pull that.
So
out.
April 7th at, April 7th at 3 o'clock, or we could do a different time. I don't know why we always do 3. I don't know how that came, but. So if we did April 7th and the agenda would be student, family, parent, student, Hamburg.
And I might have to call in, but I'm very well versed in this, so I think I'd be okay with that.
Does that work? And that's our solution for now?
At 3,
Does 3 work for everyone? Okay, so 4/7 at 3 o'clock.
Can we set a deadline for people to review and get comments in?
Sure. Time for you to incorporate all of them.
Okay, so let's have comments by 31 March. Is that enough time? A week and a half-ish?
Absolutely.
I put mine in today, a lot of them.
I did the same.
Yeah, there were a bunch of comments. Didn't see, I couldn't tell who to get them.
Yeah, it's weird how only a guest user,
Yeah.
the same thing to me.
Oh, I
Well,
missed
when
it.
you go, see what's happening is this is a Word document. And then when you slide it into that shared document, it messes everything
Yeah,
up.
it was.
All the formatting, the clothes are over here and so it's
Yeah,
It's not a
when I
clean
tried to
one.
highlight the word I wanted to make a comment on, it would highlight 2 lines above.
Yeah,
So the comments aren't exactly aligned.
that's where I think if you
Yeah.
maybe just send out this and then have people do what they
Well, we
need.
need to,
What she did.
we need to be able to mark it up.
Yeah, Joe wanted the marked up copy, so that's,
It's just gonna look crazy.
Yeah.
But it'll work. I mean,
Well-
the wording will work.
The rearranging isn't the issue, it's the content.
Yeah.
And the
Right.
content is there, so.
Do you prefer a marked up copy or do you prefer a separate document like I gave you for these? other-
either one is fine for me.
Okay.
Whichever's, but the issue is when we go between OneDrive and Word, and so oftentimes comments are formatting and it's like, not to be mean, but it's like, I know that, you guys.
format,
Like, I can see
yeah.
you.
Yeah.
So you don't need to worry about, like, formatting, we're gonna get right. What we really need to focus on is content. And because like I said, a lot of that shifting has. to do
And the
with-
challenges of fixing it in that shared file is it doesn't transfer back clean, so then you have to go back through, well, what'd you fix? Because now we gotta fix it in this. This is where we're doing our work, in this Word document.
Yeah.
We're not doing it in there because it doesn't transfer back over.
Yeah.
So that's the hard part of maybe we come with all of our comments and you go on page 4, or you send them to her, you clean up as
Yeah.
many as you can. You know, denim has a capital D, get rid of it or whatever, on page 41 or whatever.
It's just nice to, while you're reading it, highlight it, put your comment, otherwise I gotta switch to another
Yes.
thing, write it
Yeah.
down, write it down.
No, I get it.
It just doesn't go back into this document.
So on the 7th, let's confirm, on the 7th, our goal is to vote to decide the dress code and finish cleaning up this document. So there's 2 separate issues, dress code and the handbook.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
And maybe between now and then, you take any comment you see on that shared doc, put it into this, and then send this out before the 7th, this document that's clean. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
With all your
I'll
updates.
send an updated one before.
It's a board meeting, so if you have other items to, I mean, you can
You can
give some dates or
put it on.
whatever.
It's-
Whatever you
So-
want to agendize. you can get that.
let me further this conversation with the dress code. How can we, on the 31st, when you give me your comments, can you state which dress code you're leaning towards?
Sure.
And then if there's a majority,
And if it's an obvious majority, then we'll run with that one.
you can delete the other section.
Yes, are we in agreement with that?
Yes.
So by the 31st, you can email me comments and tell me which dress code. And so that right there is gonna be huge. Because then I can clean it up, get everything looking good, address all your comments, and then hopefully on the 7th, that'll be a pretty clicky click,
Yes.
go through it.
And then make sure Dorothy gets her
Yes.
comments in.
All right, so done with that one?
Yes, thank you guys.
Discuss the school improvement plan.
I can just give you a really quick overview. This isn't due till June and this will involve parents. We have to have a teacher. There's a whole committee. But I wanted to just show you what it looks like because you may or may not be familiar with some, I had it pulled up. So we do it on this plan for learning. I'm so close. Here. So this is something that we are going to probably have to do like workshop with, because we have to set, this is where we talk about setting, goals for the school. And again, we need to make sure we're doing this well. And just from past being a parent on past school performance plan committees, I've seen a lot of work go into these and then they never actually make a difference in the school and move the school, which it would be nice if we could change that in our school. So I just want to give you guys a heads up that this will be another probably like work session where we need to come together and really talk about what the goals and our performance objectives are, and then how we're going to measure those, what data we're going to collect, and so that we go into this year using this document to make our school great, not doing this document to check a box.
Right.
So where did this? I'm not used to doing a school improvement plan on the separate website. Is this a state?
Yeah, so this is SPCA's website that they have decided that.
Oh, I
schools
see it.
will-
State Public Water School
Yeah.
Authority. Okay.
So,
They hadn't heard this web plan.
yeah, so I guess they selected this vendor and this is how they're tracking SPPs now. So again, I really would like if we're to be a data-driven school, meaning that we use data to make decisions, and so we need to know what data, how we're gonna use that data, and then actually, again, like I said, use this to make our school great, not just to check a box that we had it done.
Do we have to submit a tentative year one without any data?
Mhm.
That's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
You know, I don't understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We have a plan.
we have
but
to.
We have a charter application that says,
Well, we can pay, maybe some of it comes out of that. Yeah, we present, it should June 30th.
Should that be a working group?
Yeah, that's what I see, yeah.
Okay, I'm definitely interested in that. I wanna see what a non-assessment, no data.
Yeah.
Plan's gonna look like.
I can't picture it.
I can't either, so I'm kind of curious.
All right, thanks for that one. That's gonna be interesting. All right, moving on to number 10, public comment.
Yeah.
Jan, are you still online? Do you have any public comment or anybody out there?
No, sir.
Fernando's the only one we've got left.
Okay,
Yeah, Scott?
thank you. Board member comments, item 11.
No comment.
None from Fernando. Any-
Thank you.
I do have a public comment. So, the radio ads have been working well. I think we've seen some of that on the enrollment side. But I was judging the science fair. And while I was checking in, the lady who was there, helping to run it, handing out the judge sheets or whatever, she saw my name and asked if I was involved with NCAE. And she had said she heard an ad on the radio. And that prompted her to go to the website and start looking it up and look at some of the board members and who we are and what we're about. So she was really excited to know more about it. So I talked with her for a few minutes about it.
Oh, great.
So there is some community interest that's really starting to get generated, and we're seeing that in, places where I wouldn't necessarily expect it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't heard any of them, but I've had a few people tell me I don't listen to the station they had it on, I guess, but.
I think the postcards seem like they're gonna be pretty powerful because, again, not everybody does get the Elko book or listen to the radio, but everybody gets that postcard, saying, what's going on, including teachers
I
and
hope.
retired teachers.
Yes. Yeah, thanks for sharing that.
I have another possible, meeting opportunity for discussion is, maybe we can put it on one of these agendas, is to take a hard look at a half-day kindergarten, if, just financially. And I think we're gonna pull in another 20 more, and that's our main group is kindergarten, because they haven't started school yet, right? It's hard to move schools. If you got another 22 kids, and you had a half-day kindergarten, and then not only does that add 180,000 in DSA, but it also, you could have a halftime special ed or counselor / you know what I mean? Like it would save a halftime potential position somewhere else because we just don't need those full-time positions. I think it's worth at least exploring as a group.
Gives parents more choice.
And then the following year, remember, you have 2 first grades that can hold 25, 26 technically. So yes, we might have 60 total here, but we're gonna be able to absorb 50. And you always have some kids, you know what I mean? We just have to think that through. Be a good
I think
discussion.
it's a good thing to discuss philosophically, right, is that do we want half day or full day, and financially, where are we at the time, and
And
what's
then
our,
impacts.
after EIA's group, we get through their, lottery, and all of a sudden we get 100 more sign up.
That's right.
I mean, then what do we look at?
When we have the room for it, this might change our year 2 plan or year 3 plan to, okay, now we're already too big because we had to make 3 first grades. Thought we only needed 2, you know?
Yeah, I think there's value in having a discussion about it.
Workshopping that.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a change to our charter, and a bunch of things like that too. But,
But we're addressing the data that's coming.
yeah,
We're being data
As
driven.
long as you guys wanna write the amendment. Cause I'll be running to school.
Yeah.
Lisa, do you have anything?
A couple of things, from the fundraising perspective. I did meet with Nevada Gold Mines, and I got the information for their community development grant. So we are, eligible to apply for a grant. Their next meeting is April 10th. I told her I didn't think we could probably pull it together by then. They asked for a grant application as well as a presentation, and they'll sit down with us to do that. But I think we should think some more about exactly what our ask would be of them. And then maybe put it in a later meeting. In addition, NCAE is already a recipient or eligible for Benevity funds for the Heritage Fund funds, which means if you know anybody who works at NGM who's willing to give us money, it will be matched to the school at 120%.
They have to put the box, right? Now, when do they get those change forms?
Which change?
Like once a year, if I'm work out there, do they give you, or do you have to go and actually do it?
Yeah.
So once I've signed up for Boys and Girls Club, I walked into that unless I will make the change.
It depends how they do it. If they are doing, some people just write a check, right? So some people just do the donation and then request for it to be matched. Some people do payroll deduction
Right.
and then they stay in that payroll deduction.
Okay, that's what I thought.
So,
Every year they got the, hey, here's all the.
yeah. Yep, and we are in that and
Okay.
eligible and all set up, which is very exciting.
So 2 questions. So I guess one, how do we market to try to
It's tough.
improve that? And then the other one is, do you need help with what we're asking for the main thing? Because is it facilities only? Is it property? Is it just general money that can be used for anything?
Yeah, I think it's pretty broad. It's about community development, and education is one of their priority areas. So I expect that it will be pretty open what we can use it for. So if there's something specific that we are looking for a chunk of money, like the NGM playground or something, that would be a good opportunity for that.
How often do, like you said, April, we won't be ready. So when's the
Yeah.
next round?
I haven't heard back yet.
Okay.
I will follow up with Leslie on that. I don't know if they meet monthly or quarterly. But I will check with her and get some more detail. As far as the Heritage Fund, it's pretty hard to market because they don't really let you go out to the employees and talk to them about it. We can try some different things. They have some communication pathways where they highlight some of the recipients. We'd have to be a recipient before that could happen.
At least one person give us 15
Which
bucks and then.
my husband works there, so
Hey, there's one.
we can make a donation through that. But the best thing you can do is talk to anybody you know who works at it.
Yeah, I know they have a lot of stuff on LinkedIn and things like that. I see things come through, and I was just thinking, can we do a post, or we can consider?
We
us
could
as
do a post
I can ask Amber
Yeah.
to do one.
and do that as a, hey, we're doing a social, a
Great news,
fundraiser.
great news,
Did you know if you work there? We can do that.
So
that's a
just
good
say
idea.
like we're on Benevity.
Yes.
When is
Choose us,
the
eligible
application?
organization.
When is the application due for the April meeting?
She said that she would need to meet with me before that meeting to make sure that we had everything. She didn't say specifically when.
Last time, we used to do it all the time. It's like 3 pages long. It's not a big application. It's very simple, but I mean, you hate to miss opportunity. Especially now because we're doing a lot of our furniture. Like maybe we wouldn't ask for some furniture, but we would ask for some of those little special pieces like bookshelves, library books, or cool chairs and tables, plants for the decoration, pictures, the art.
I'm even wondering about like safety and security.
Safety,
Sort of stuff.
gosh,
Like
that's
we talked
huge.
about doing it here, maybe a.
Cause you're
Maybe
thinking
that's-
More after tomorrow.
Okay.
and the reason for that is you know that you don't have to budget for it, where if the next one's quarterly, you've already spent the money. Because we have to have it in place by June for inspection.
And what about, Ivy Gold and?
I can help with it too.
We haven't talked to anybody else yet. In the discussion that we've had among this board is we're trying to raise $100,000 this year. Everybody on this board needs to go and find some money from somebody. And that we're saving some of those others for sort of that next round of fundraising.
I didn't know if they had community grants or.
They all do. They just target different things. I mean, we could go to Orla. NGM is gonna be the biggest, the most local, which is why I wanna make sure that we use it for something beneficial and that we don't go and ask them for 2,000 when we can ask them for 20,000.
400.
Yeah,
Exactly.
so.
Yeah, and they've set some precedents of giving 500,000, but I think that was more for facilities and things like that.
Yeah.
So,
We'll go, and when I talked to Leslie, I told her we will be coming back when we start our capital campaign. We will be coming back for a bigger.
I believe Silver Standard also contributes to Elko too. Well, I'm a liaison. So one of their boards, and I know they give money to Elko, so
Yeah.
I'll talk to them about that.
That would be good.
Yeah, get on that.
That would be great.
and then-
And then
no, go ahead.
Dorothy helped get that other $25,000 through the door here. I also went and talked to Lynn Hoffman, AKA my mom. She pledged 50,000, 25 this year and 25 next year.
Wow.
So she's checked the pillar box on the campaign form.
So cool.
So we have 50,000 of our 100,000, which means
Good
we
work.
need some more help.
Maybe we have to up it.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is amazing.
Good work, team.
Then we were gonna potentially talk about dates if you wanted to do something.
Yes.
Recognizing donors or fundraiser. And I offered our ranch venue, and I don't know if that's the best spot or anything like that, but if so, I need to know
Yeah.
dates because we for other things too, so.
Yeah, I asked Joe to bring this up, bring this to the meeting because, I think we've talked about doing a big fundraiser and having an annual event. We don't have enough time right now to get that planned, but we have enough big donors that I think it would be worth doing some kind of donor thank you and thank you for the people who have been with us on this journey for the last several years.
Donor appreciation.
And,
If you want to write another check?
Yes, and we can potentially try to raise some money, but also maybe we just try to host a social thank you and do that at the ranch. But obviously the board would need to be there, so I thought we could, and maybe it's an email. Are we allowed to do that? Email about a date, a potential date for having that event? I think so.
Well, we were thinking, teachers are hired, staff's hired,
Yes.
it's a great time to interview.
So maybe, yeah, like September, October, and then what's cool about that is the school's now open and there's some excitement versus.
Well, that's the problem with our place is September and October are pretty booked. July. Well, it depends on
Teachers,
the
yeah,
weekends. July is where we have no weddings booked in July.
Wow.
And we usually, but May, June, in August, we only have one. In some years, August is full, but September is every weekend, October is. We have 2 or 3 in October.
Can we look at the one
so
weekend in October you don't? have
August.
one?
What's that?
What's your weekend in October you don't? Because then school's going. It's a little excitement in the air.
If we went, the problem with October, you don't know what the weather's doing.
Yeah.
If we want to
It
be
is
outside on
outside.
the lawn, we can always use the barn, right? But
Yeah, for dinner.
so, July and August, We have one on the 9th.
Mm.
So any other weekend in August would be available. If you want to go that late, and July is pretty open, so.
Oh, there should be a ton of training, something out here probably.
So just some thoughts there.
Yeah,
Well, maybe put that on the next agenda and then we can. Look at dates.
What, what to use it for, or whatever other options, things you want to
yeah.
do.
I think if that's something that sounds like a good idea to the folks in this room, we can
Mhm.
look at what dates are available and have some discussion for the next meeting.
Just know you get people out there and they're on the lawn and it's a beautiful day and they're,
Yeah.
you have some drinks and it's a picnic. They don't want to leave.
Yeah.
I mean, they just stay there. Really, you can go home now.
You're like, I'm going to bed.
So,
Yeah, no, I'm gonna bring those designated drivers.
So
Or else leaving that.
we have the grand opening on the August 8th. Is it the same people? Do we wanna, if they're already in town? Oh, no, that's the weekend you said you have.
We can't. I was thinking the same thing. I thought it'd be nice to just do it the next day.
Okay.
Grand opening and then,
Well, we can change the grand opening. We could do the grand opening the next weekend. Like, I'm thinking if people are traveling to go, we
Yeah.
could give them 2 things. I don't know how many of our donors are out
most
of
of
the
them are
area.
local, aren't they?
Most of them.
Most of them.
Cause the grand opening, I just picked that date, so I thought 8/8 sounded cool, and it was far enough out.
Are all the teachers there and locked in on the 8th?
We'll be coming back from Las Vegas, so we'll have been all trained up. So I mean, we could make it the 15th, 16th, if we wanted to do like a NCAA weekend kind of thing.
That'd be fun. I'm in favor of that, because I'd like to go to the grand opening, but I won't be here.
Oh, you do that, okay.
So you did
I
this
won't
like
be
on
here
a
next
Friday?
Yeah,
You're not there on the.
Oh, you're not
15th?
I am not gonna be in town.
Okay.
It's probably more.
Let's talk about it.
Not really.
and then the other parts of that is there's a couple bands that are local that want to come just play music.
Heck
And,
yeah.
and then I have a group of people that want to cook.
How about August 1st?
And so we have some of that stuff kind of set up.
Your teachers won't be.
Oh, no, we're gonna be in. We're gonna
And
be.
they need to know dates,
Yeah.
so.
When does school start?
Okay.
25th. The week before you're gone, the week before you're gone. What about the weekend after? Oh, September's booked. That's Labor Day weekend. I kind of like a little after school gets started, because then you have momentum going, but I don't know. Then you like talked about the weather. Be snowy, could be beautiful.
Well, I think, I mean, this seems like one of those things, maybe somebody pick the date and then whoever can go goes. I mean, we're not gonna get all 7 of us potentially.
Maybe Joe, you and I can look at what dates you have available.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, so the August 9th is the only one we don't in August,
Number shot.
if you're thinking a weekend.
Yeah,
July 4th weekend is probably one to avoid.
Yes.
So we have the 12th, the 19th, 26th.
September's
Or
completely shot
Thursdays.
and October's
could we do
totally shot.
Thursday?
So starting September,
Yeah.
What about a Thursday?
what we want to do midweek,
Well,
any,
Yeah, but you might be prepping for a wedding, so that might not be a good idea.
no, Thursdays are okay, Fridays, yeah, no, Thursday.
I'm wondering if we could do Thursday that, oh, wait, you're still gone. Thursday, the 7th, before the opening on the 8th. The grand opening. And then it's still the same. We can bring people into town, but not do it Saturday night.
The 7th, we have SPCSA restorative justice training or something.
Woo!
Yeah, we got
I have that on my calendar.
So can we adjourn and then?
This will be for.
Yeah, we can talk some more about it and we'll
Yeah.
come back with another idea. That was my last comment.
Okay, anybody else have any other items, board member items? Okay, and then we set the next board meeting, which is now.
Monday the 7th and then.
Monday the
followed by
7th, and
and that
then it'll be
wasn't
the
updated.
17th. Oh, it wasn't April, it'll be April.
16th.
So we are going to one meeting a month now.
That's our goal.
Okay.
With the exception of the,
Policy.
Yeah.
yeah, so April 7th specifically for school, family and parent handbook, and then the 16th for regular schedule.
You send a reminder out to us to vote for whatever.
And then vote for your, yeah, you're just.
Okay.
Great meeting, you guys.
Any other things? Meeting adjourned. Yep.
Woo, good job, you guys. We appreciate you
And stopping recording.
powering through.
Yes, that was a good.